And the snows fall and the white winds blow. The lone wolf dies, but the pack survives.
What is going on, everybody out there in YouTube land? Welcome to another episode of Wolfpack Wednesday, the 25th episode of Wolfpack Wednesday. We are sure glad to have you here. If you wouldn't mind doing so on your way in, hit that like button. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, be sure to do that. We are on our quest for 5,000 subscribers. It has been a long, grueling march, but we are getting there, and I can't do it without each and every one of you. So happy to be here on Wednesday. So happy to have my Wolfpack brother, EvilSneaker, here, and special guest, 1/6 Fix, Marco himself, the man, the myth, the legend. Welcome to the show, my friend. How are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. Let's do this. So is it official? Can we announce that I'm replacing DLO? Is that okay to say now?
Yes. So, yeah, you guys may have noticed a little gap in the panel here. We are missing DLO. He took the week off to grow his beard back from Halloween. And then Brick Artemis decided to join some sort of weird science project. So he's out for this week too. So we're missing two guys, but I know the two guys with me are going to put the show on their shoulders, carry this thing through. We're going to have a good time tonight. There's a lot of good stuff to talk about. Sneaker, how are you doing, my friend?
Really good. Really good. Yeah. It's been a kind of crazy week, but yeah, I'm off work tomorrow, so 4-day weekend. Yeah, can't really get much better than that at this moment in time. So yeah, excited to talk about some figures, and yeah, excited to talk with you guys.
Awesome. Marco, I know it's been a hot minute since we've had you on the show. I just want to ask you, because I'm curious myself, but I'm sure people out there are curious too. What's going on with you, lately? Like, what's new? How have you been in life? How have you been in the hobby? Have you, any big figures that came home recently, or any big changes to the display or anything? What's going on?
Yeah, wow, this is a deep question. So I'll take my good 10 minutes to get through this. But no, we've been good. Not a lot of content on the channel because we've been traveling and been really busy, honestly. Been wanting to do Bargain Pin Bros for a while, but just haven't carved out that time. So yeah, personally pretty busy, but all is good. Collection wise, it's been kind of slow and steady. I got the Doc Ock, I got Electro, just got this Cyborg recently too, special edition.
Oh, nice.
Incredible figure. Like I don't know that I'll display him without the without that second completely masked sculpt, because I think it just looks so good that way. So yeah, so collecting journey's been good, but like all of us, I'm just like out of space. And yeah. I think you've seen me. I think last time I was here, I was in the back kind of area where I've got my collection streaming set up that I hope to move into. But it's going through so many iterations. Graham, I know you cannot relate to tearing apart the display every other day. You're the master at that, probably.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I kind of redid exactly what I was thinking. So hopefully that'll be up and running before the end of the year and dedicated streaming area back there. But no, really looking forward to chatting with you guys tonight, and hopefully we can, talk about some Inquisitors here.
Yeah. And I definitely know about like tearing things down, moving it, but it sucks when you do it, especially like moving all the figures out, putting them back in. But it's nice to see the finished product. But sometimes I've done it too, where I've moved things around and it didn't work. Like I've actually moved cabinets and I didn't like it. And I'm like, damn it. I'm like, back to what we had before. That's the worst part, is when it doesn't work, and then you got to go back to what you had. But
it's part of the fun though too.
It's true. Like, I know people are like, this guy changes his display every 2 days or whatever, but it's part of the fun of the hobby. It's not staying in one spot for too long, or staying stagnant or anything like that. So some things have been there for a while, but yeah, I mean, I feel like every few months, every 6 months or so, everything gets kind of slapped around and changed up, and yeah, you just kind of refresh it.
And you get a new appreciation for everything, right? You see it in different angles, different lights. So, yeah, it's a good way to keep things spicy in the collection.
Amen, brother. Amen. All right. Well, let's check in with the chat, see who's here. Before we do, just want to officially welcome Marco to the show.
Welcome to the fucking show.
Let's go. Let's see who is here and start at the top. First and foremost, we have Eddie Rodriguez. Throw it up. The Wolfpack sign. Too sweet to you, my brother. And we have Andreas giving good vibes. Welcome to the show. Thank you for being here. Giovan, hello, hello. Universal Key, good evening to you. Tighter FL, good to see the staples in the show tonight. Mike Litteris, not working. He's going to hang out with us, I'm thinking, because I'm seeing him right away here. So I'm excited to have Mike here. Action in the Box, another fan of the page. I'm a fan of his as well. Love the dioramas that he does on his YouTube channel. So go check that out too. It says, good evening, fellow collectors. Almost Thursday here in Brazil, but I'm here at least for a while. Well, we do appreciate you staying up late with us. Brick Artemis is still here on the interwebs saying hello and checking out the show. We got Cylon. Let's get started. Yomo, hello, my friend. How are you? DLO, what are you doing here? You are supposed to be on holiday, but it's good to see you, my friend. We miss you, and we'll see you next week, my friend. Too sweet to you. We got Doc Bat in the house. Hello, everyone. Let's see. Yeah, Mike says blame Brick. Very good, very good. Yeah, we're a couple minutes late. It was weird because my mic was working, and then I stepped away, and then all of a sudden I came back, and I just unmuted myself, and it was echoey and loud and all that stuff. So technology. We got the, let's see here, the movie canon. Hello, everybody. Happy Merrick Figure Day. Yeah. Is it happy? You know, we'll talk to the panel, see what these guys think about it. Low Key Collector. What's up, my friend? He says, what's up, fellas? Good to see you. Thank you for being here. Primetime Reviews channel member in the house. Too sweet, my brother. Thank you for being here. Awesome, awesome. Jazzy, hello. What's up, broski? Thank you for being here as well. Love getting your, opinion on stuff like that we're going to talk about. So let's see. Yeah, Brick says science project. Yeah, doing some weird experiments on you is what I heard. But yeah, we'll just keep moving along. Daniel in the house. Hello, hello. Yeah, Brick joined a cult. His first meeting was on Wednesday, so he figured he couldn't miss it. We got Hammer of God. Hey, what is going on? Thank you for being here. Born Again, good to see you. Jedi291, a fellow Jedi in the house. Hello, hello. Striker, what's going on, my friend? Hello, everyone. Finally finished my Spider-Man game. Definitely will be playing it again to unlock more great stuff. So Marco, good. Did you get it? You been playing it? You finish it?
I did, yeah. I haven't finished it yet, no. But yeah, I've dedicated a fair amount of time. I think I'm around where Venom shows up, so... Yeah, pretty incredible game so far.
I'm like 20% in. I just beat the carnival mission. That's how far I'm in.
Oh gosh,
I just
beat
the carnival, which is great. Which is great. Really yeah, good. I've been taking my sweet time with the game.
You got to savor it.
You guys ever see the meme where Homer's sitting in the bar and everybody's doing the same thing and he's just oblivious and everybody's got like that icon of what's hot and he has no idea what's going on? I feel like that was me when it came out. Like I knew it was coming up, but I didn't buy it. I wasn't really big into it, and I'm just kind of sitting there while everybody's playing Spider-Man and I'm hearing about it. I'm just like minding my own business. But
did you play the older games? You haven't played any of them? Oh man, you're missing out.
I know. We have a new channel member. They call me Queso Blanco. Thank you so much for taking the plunge and becoming a member of the watch. Too sweet to you. You have unlocked cool perks, cool emojis, member only giveaways, and a bunch of other cool stuff. So as well as getting your name on each and every one of my videos. So thank you for that donation and then just being extra supportive. Appreciate it. He also says, pour one out for DLO and Brick. Being a college kid who works weekend nights, this is the only stream I can watch live. Y'all rock. Too sweet. Appreciate you. Thank you so much. That's awesome. So guys, we got a lot to talk about in the chat. If there's any Q&A you have or any topics that you want us to talk about, or you want to ask Marco something or Sneaker or myself, let us know in the chat. It's going to be kind of just just kind of one of those free shows where we're going to talk and we got some figures to discuss. Overreaction Wednesday. So throw those in there. But what I want to start with first is because we're in November now, and Black Friday is just a couple weeks away. We've already had Spooktacular, which was Sideshow throwing a bunch of deals at us. Obviously, if you've been collecting for a few years, you know that like November, December, lots of things start dropping. You know, we're also trying to spend money on Christmas presents for family members and friends. So I want to ask the guys on the panel and you guys in the chat too, what is your collecting plan going into the 2023 holiday season? Is it, you know, status quo, normal, nothing to worry about, just going to pick up whatever I need to pick up when I need to pick it up? Are you being super selective because you got to save for other things in life? Or, you know, are you waiting for the deals on Sideshow? So I want to start with Marco on this one. What is your plan here to end the year with your collecting hobby?
This is a great question right here. And, you know, I hadn't necessarily thought about my plan specifically because it's hard to plan in this hobby. You know, we think Hot Toys, okay, they're going to drop around this time. And then sometimes it gets pushed earlier, sometimes it gets pushed later. So it is really hard to have a game plan. But for me, because, you know, I've been kind of slow and steady with the pre-orders. Even when people were saying no pre-order, I'm like, yeah, you know, if I can get a built-in discount of like no sales tax, no shipping, I'm just going to go ahead and secure that figure. And sometimes I got burnt on that, like Moff Gideon, for example. He's gone much lower. You're probably going to be able to get him during the pre-Black Friday or during Black Friday for under $200, I could imagine.
Right.
Right. I think he's been there already. But, you know, I've just been kind of slow and steady. So I would like some capacity to pick up a few of those figures that I, you know, haven't pulled the trigger on, like Mech Test. Tony Stark is one of those where if I see him, I think I saw him for, I don't know, maybe it was like 35% off.
Dude,
already, right? So It's like, okay, now you're tempting me if you had free shipping onto that.
I know, right? Like it's never enough. Like I'm like, but I need that shipping. So
exactly. You got to have the double whammy. All that being said, though, I don't want to overextend myself because, like I said, slowly getting these pre-orders in. I know that I have some more coming, but who knows? We know Hot Toys always kind of pushes out a bunch of figures before Chinese New Year. So very likely we're going to get inundated with some releases over the next few months, and I want to be prepared for that. So I think I'm keeping an eye on like extremely deep discounts for figures that I missed, but then also just being prepared to receive all the figures that are undoubtedly on their way. All the Batman, you know, the bike, the Batman figure itself, maybe in art, which I highly doubt at this point. So, and yeah, plenty of other Star Wars and maybe some other Marvel and DC releases. So that's a game plan for now, as loose as possible. But yeah, saving up for that onslaught.
you had a great point too, because you said, you know, there's a bunch of deals out there, and that's something that I kind of just forgot about. I mean, we know because, you know, Sneaker and we talk every day in our private chat about what we're finding out there and super sick deals. But like now is the time too where a lot of other collectors are going to be feeling the crunch with these new figures coming out, or even just getting money for Christmas. So you're going to see a lot of big deals on eBay, on the BST. So like, you know, that might be like your plan is I'm going to snatch up all of the deals, but I'm not going to spend full retail on anything at this point. So I'm just going to look for, you know, these figures at a really good deal and pretty much just, you know, reap the rewards from people selling off. So I think that's another tactic too that people could have, just finishing out the year is this is the time where you're going to see more and more deals. I've seen the white suit Black Widow going for 150, 170 new. I've seen Sneaker, you can talk about it more, but you got Moon Knight for like a super cheap deal. But some of these,
but wait, I
Marvel
thought that
figures
one was sold out,
right?
Yeah, I got Moon Knight for $200.
Yeah,
That's
so
awesome.
On eBay, which is on eBay, like I feel like is really low considering you just get destroyed for fees if you're a seller. But
right, yeah,
lucked out.
But Sneaker, why don't you just, you know, give us what your kind of plan is going into the end of the year too? Well, so that's kind of the funny thing though, Sneaker. So before you start, he had this little rule for himself.
Little rule,
said,
keyword little.
Back in like September, no new figures unless they're existing pre-orders until 2024. How many figures have you bought since then? A
I
handful?
don't know, 4 or 5 maybe. And this week, yeah, I bought 3 this week. So, but
Oh, boy.
I will say, like, Graham, you kind of brought up the point about like right now there's so many deals out there. And also probably like within this past month, like I decided to like expand my horizons outside of primarily Star Wars. So I'm starting to like, Marvel is like free for the taking right now deal wise. So Marvel is one of those things where like there's one iteration, maybe 2 depending on the figure, but like one iteration of characters that I want. So right now, like I'm trying to go for maybe some of these ones that I can get a really good deal on, but making sure that they're the ones that I really want. And the other thing is like this sideshow thing with the 35% off is really dangerous. I actually didn't buy anything from them because I think it's also easy to fall into the trap of, oh, this is 35% off. It's a great deal. I'm going to buy it. But you better make sure you want it, because if you try to sell this within the next 6 months, you are shit out of luck. It's not, you are not going to be able to sell it. You are going to be keeping it, and you're going to take a loss on a figure you paid 35% off for if you try to sell it. Because it's just like, that's why. So I'm being like, it has to be something I really, really want for the 35% off deal. And also like there's some secondary market figures that you can get for an even better price than that right now. So it's pretty crazy. Yeah, I've also like the past 2 months, like I've been on a huge selling kick. So like I'm getting rid of just a lot of clutter in my basement. I'm really trying to like revamp my basement and like really fine tune things. Like I have a bunch of Star Wars books that I'm selling, just random stuff. Like I opened up my desk drawer in my, like in my, like by my computer, I had like a bunch of like Steelbook Blu-rays that I don't ever, like I haven't touched them in 2 years, sold all those on eBay. So I'm just like clearing stuff out to make way for also the impending pre-orders that I have coming in too, because there's a lot of stuff coming in. So I'm doing a little bit of everything. Yeah, getting rid of a lot of stuff, buying a few things, but also just being really careful that whatever I'm buying, I'm making that money back from other stuff that I'm selling. That's pretty much what I've been doing. Is if I'm buying something, it's because I'm selling something. Selling 4 Star Wars figures, you know, right now, which is new for me.
Never thought you'd do that.
Selling like a few Star Wars figures that I feel like just don't fit into my collection currently, that I just can't place with the way that I have my collection set up. Now that my cases are all set up and everything. So selling a few things and venturing out into some Marvel, some DC stuff, because there's some stuff that I want to get in those lines, especially after going to Graham's house once again and seeing his Marvel case. And like, yeah, there's some figures that I want to get from those lines. So yeah, I'm kind of all over the board right now with that stuff, but there's just like some crazy, for me, getting into Marvel. Like I said, there's just so many. Now is a great time to get into Marvel if you're going to keep the figures. If you're not going to keep the figures, I wouldn't recommend it. But for me, it's like I have no Marvel figures. I have select ones that I want. It's a great time to like pick and choose. I mean, I'm getting anything, like the majority of my list, you can get things for under $200. So it's just like, yeah, kind of right for the taking. But yeah, that's long story. But yeah, that's my my current. That's
a good story. It's a very good story.
Current situation. So I've changed. My plan has evolved a little bit. But with that being said, I know we joke about it. I'm also being smart about it and calculated in what I'm doing. It's not like I'm just saying, oh, fuck it, I'm just gonna go buy all these figures now. Right. But yeah, it's changed the past like couple months because I'm branching out.
Well, I've been doing the same thing too. Like we've been trying to kind of like hold each other accountable in the fact like I'm also trying not to spend money to buy new figures until like maybe next year once I get through the Christmas season. I'm still trying to recoup from August when I got those 8 or 9 figures. So I wanted this Hulk. I had the Hulk came used into my local comic book store.
This was Avengers 1, right?
Right. And I've been wanting this figure. And if you guys have watched my channel, I did a video on like Grails that I wanted, that I was searching for like 2 years ago, I think. And he was on the list. And I had to get Professor Hulk because it was just the one that was readily available. Was never happy with it. So I moved on from that. And then this guy just pretty much dropped in my lap. And then after I already committed to get it, it was already a good deal from what I've seen on eBay. The store decided to do a 15% off store wide. So then I got 15 extra percent off. So basically before tax, this thing was like $350 in good shape. So super excited to get that. But I sold things to be able to fund that because I don't want to be, just spending money. And I had enough to also get the Batman Begins figure from the Spooktacular. That was the one figure that I picked up, Marco. And the only reason I did is because it was like $160 after shipping, after tax.
That's hard to say no to.
Yeah, and I'm gonna get a custom cape and then a custom cowl eventually. So we'll make it what I want it to be. But I think for me too, I'm trying to hold out because I'm getting ready for that Bat cycle. I'm getting ready for the Batman. So those are gonna be two big purchases, probably pretty close together. So, and then I'm thinking Vader Kenobi Vader might release before Christmas. Toby from Spider-Man. What else is there? Obi-Wan himself might come out. Catwoman from the Dark Knight trilogy. There's a bunch of stuff. Mantis might even come out because she's like a Christmassy figure. She's slated for January, but that could come out early. So yeah, just be ready for that stuff when you guys are heading into the holiday season. When it comes to Black Friday, there's only two things I'm looking at, and is if Endgame Loki goes super cheap or if Fennec goes super cheap. I'm still looking for those two figures, but I don't want to spend a lot because they're not like staples for a collection. I think they're good add-ons, but it's not anything that I have to have. So are you guys looking at anything like Black Friday? If it goes super cheap, you'd pick it up? Marco, you can go jump in if you want.
Yeah, so I think I mentioned that Mech Test Tony Stark.
Yep.
I want the special edition one with the few additional tchotchkes in there. What else was I looking at? I think Sneaker mentioned the white suit Black Widow, or Graham, maybe that was you.
Yeah.
That's one that I've been thinking about for a while, but the fact that it keeps dropping lower and lower, I'm like, oh, if I could get this for, sub 150, I might not be able to say no to it. What else? I've been pretty good about picking up the figures that I want. So, and I was thinking another thing is I want to create a list. And I normally do this when I'm about to purchase something during Black Friday and start looking at the prices beforehand, a few weeks beforehand, just so I know like when the deal is there, is it actually a good deal or has it already been this price and I'm just, falling into that Black Friday hype. So I've got kind of a few figures that I may pull the trigger on, but they've got to be really, really at a super discounted price for me to think about it.
Right. How about you, Sneaker?
Yeah, I mean,
you were close to picking up that tumbler. You had it in your car.
I'm glad I waited. Like I would like to get a Batman first, and like that tumbler is going to go on sale again. It's inevitable. It's going to go on sale again, and I don't have the space. I don't have the space for it right now. I would like to get it at some point, but I also like want to build up my collection a little bit more figure wise too. There's some things I have my eye on. Like I would like to get I've been talking like Graham to you about getting an Iron Man. Like I want to get a Mark 85. I'm torn between whether or not I want the clean versus the battle damage, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to try to go clean. So there's like that figure I'm looking for. There's some Marvel, like really right now it's like I'm looking for Marvel stuff because like I'm trying to build up my Marvel stuff. So Marco, you don't know this, but so like I saw Graham's Hulk last weekend in person and I was like, this thing is incredible in person. It's one of the coolest figures I've ever seen. So then I bought one like a few days later on eBay. Found like a decent deal on eBay. So like I knew what Graham paid for it and I was kind of, picking his brain about it. Like, is this like a good, like one popped up on eBay and they've all been outrageous on eBay. So it was basically like, Graham, is this like based on what you paid, do you feel like this is a fair deal? The market a little bit better for this figure. And like, it was pretty good. I think I spent like 30 or 40 more bucks than Graham did. And so yeah, I'm like just on the hunt right now for some Marvel stuff and trying to like figure out what I'm going to do for that. I will say another thing is like the BSTs right now, like all the buy, sell, trade on Facebook, it seems like stuff is just not moving. Like there's so much up and there's so much stuff for like really good prices and it is just like not going anywhere. I've seen so many posts where there's just like some figures I'm like, oh my gosh, do I like pull the trigger on this? Do I wait? Because there's just like figures that are just sitting for people, myself included. Like I'm trying to get rid of stuff and like I have a couple figures for sale that they're priced pretty low, but I just like nobody will bite right now.
Gotta give it away at this point. I mean, we've all been kind of programmed to shop that way where, if somebody's willing to go this low, maybe they're willing to go even lower. So I should probably just wait it out and see.
Yeah. And I think like it's smart to do that around the holidays too, right? True. I think that's the main thing. after Christmas, like all bets are off because people are going to have Christmas money. I'll be interested to see what happens with everything after Christmas when people fall into Christmas money, or like, you know, what people want to spend their money on after the holidays. That's when I'll be interested to see what happens, like with the with the secondary market and just like everything in general. But yeah, that's what I'll.
Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff out there that's very tempting, and sometimes you just need to tell yourself,
I know what I have to do, but I don't know if I have the strength to do it.
I tell myself that multiple times a day, every day.
It's the meme you live by. I did run a poll just to see, you know, if you guys are being more selective during this holiday season. So make sure you vote on that, and I'll pull it up in a couple minutes here. Let me just catch back up with some of the chat here. Movie Cannon says, this will be my first time entering the holiday season as a collector, hoping for a good experience. I mean, I think it just depends on what you want to get out of it. There's going to be deals to be found, but there's going to be a lot of drops at the same time. So it might be a little overwhelming, but you guys have any, we've kind of been talking about it, but any quick advice for a new collector during this time?
Get what you like
right now.
Yeah. Start saving and like get what you, I feel like focus on what you really want to try to get, because it's a good time to try to get that stuff. I think too, you know, like, and make sure it's what you really want. I think right now with how the market is, make sure it is what you really want, because buying into the hype of something right now and then trying to get rid of it later is just not a good strategy right now, in my opinion. It's just really hard to move stuff at the same time. So it goes both ways.
That's really great advice. And I think, you know, figures that I would pounce on are ones that I've been thinking about for months now. And it's like, okay, it finally hits a point where I'm comfortable snagging it, but not one that I'm like, oh, okay, I had never thought to purchase this, but now it's at this price.
Yeah.
So
Bingo.
Right. Make sure that you know what you're going to really want long term.
Yeah, don't get caught up in like, oh, I never even really thought about getting this figure, but it's so cheap right now, I'm going to buy it. You know, that's a dangerous game because there's so much stuff on sale. It is, because then it's like, we talked about this in the past, like, you know, maybe there's a figure out there you want for 300, 350, but then you start falling into the trap of something's 175, 200, you buy one of those. Well, that's over half of what you could have spent on the one you really want, you know? So like, why not save a little bit more? But it's an easy trap to fall into.
And even last night we were talking with Brick and DLO about like the Black Widows and how you can, you know, swapping the endgame head with the new black suit or even the white suit looks really amazing. Almost makes it look like a new figure. It does make it look like a new figure. And I'm like thinking, ooh, I started looking at the white suits and, you know, again, I could find it super cheap. But then I'm like, but is that something you really need at this point? Because you're trying to be extra careful. Is that a need, or is that just like a want that, you know, isn't really something you need? So I'm trying to sift through that all the time too, because I don't know about you, Marco, but I find myself on eBay all the time, just kind of checking what the new listings are. You know, checking once a day on Sideshow if anything's going on sale. Is that something that you do as well, or are you a little bit more what's the word, disciplined when it comes to, you know, even how often you look?
Yeah. Well, let's ask Gigi if I'm disciplined, because she would say absolutely not. But no, you know, I used to search on eBay. I think especially during the pandemic, I was pretty regularly looking at figures that I wanted that I had missed out on, since I was kind of new to the hobby. But I don't try to go on there as often, because it's really dangerous, right? Because you start seeing these deals and then you start thinking about certain figures. So yeah, I try to avoid eBay. I really am confined to the buy-sell trade groups. And then even then, I'm very, very picky with what I would pick up there. I'm just kind of focused on what I've already got coming. And then again, figures that I may have thought to purchase that I never pre-ordered, but they're kind of in the back of my mind that if they reach a certain price and I'm snagging it. So yeah, you guys are bold to be on the eBay though. That's a dangerous.
Oh my gosh,
game.
I'm like a walking Hot Toys stock market every day.
Same here. I know it's like I know the values, and I know when I'm finding a deal, and I know what
there's
these
like
figures go for, and it's crazy.
Yeah,
but
I have saved searches on eBay that I just check every single day. It's like, and it's fun. Like some of it too. It's not like, some of it's fun. Like some of it's part of, like, I've always been like that before I got into Hot Toys and I was into Black Series. Like knowing the market and just like being into all that stuff was like kind of part of the fun for me. So it kind of adds to,
hunt, right?
Yeah,
right.
It is.
It
like
is
part of the hunt. Yeah. And then like, you know the market really well and you know what to look for, and it kind of just helps you as a collector when it comes to buying stuff as well. The more you know about the market, I feel like it's helpful when you're spending this kind of money. So yeah, walking Hot Toys stock market.
New channel.
Will you walking Yeah, just do the value market there. William Cote says, I've been value shopping hardcore. This guy would message me on Facebook asking, if I need something. He's been getting super deals. Like, so I'm like, where are you even finding these figures? And I mean, if you just search long enough and lowball the shit out of people, eventually it's going to take. So I'm not saying he does, but, sometimes like Sneaker says, shoot your shot. You never know what's going to happen. Some people just need to get out and you can find a really good deal on it. So
also there's a point of lowballing to an extreme versus like being reasonable too.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like when I make offers to people, I'm usually like trying to go off the market of like, if somebody's pricing something on, if a bunch of eBay sold listings are X amount of money, eBay's taking 15% of that before you even ship it. So like I'll tell people like, this is what the going rate is on eBay. You're gonna have to pay fees after that. This is what the market value is for this right now. Like this is what I'll offer. And sometimes people just say, no, I'm not gonna sell at that, and that's fine. Like I don't expect anybody to sell to me like that. But with that being said, like that's what they would get if they sold it outside of like a BST group or something like that.
Sure.
So it's just like I said, knowing the market and making offers that way. And the worst they can say is no, but don't be an asshole.
Right.
Lowball people. Like,
sorry if I led the people to believe that Sneaker is
don't
not.
be like, oh, I'll give you $100. Yeah, I don't lowball to that level. Okay.
110 though.
Yeah. And I will say the way I do it has worked out in my favor, like a good amount of times. Because people want to get rid of stuff. You know what I mean? So yeah, just be smart about it.
Yep. We got Christian Cooper in the house. What's going on? Thank you for being here. We got Hawk Wars Toys. What's up, gentlemen? One of the best sellers out there on eBay. So go hit up his store as well. He's got a lot of figures, and you can get some really good deals there too. So always appreciate Hawk being in the chat and hanging out with us. We have, let's see here. Everybody's saying hi to Hawk. I know I'm catching up, guys. I'm pretty far behind here. Mike says, Graham, is your begins glossy? Are you happy with it? I returned to glossy bats last week. Frustrating. So it was glossy. It is glossy. I was a little bit disheartened by that too, because it's already got the bad cowl, the bad cape going for it. And Sneaker even told me that yours was glossy and you were pretty frustrated about it. And I did reach out to Sideshow and I asked him like, hey, what's the deal? I thought like Hot Toys fixed this. Why are we still getting these figures? And they pretty much told me that they're just selling whatever they get from Hot Toys, and this is what they were given. So basically I can either return it or keep it. And they gave me a $25 Sideshow gift card, which I'm like, it doesn't bother me that much, I guess. So I was okay with it, but it is a little bit of a shot to the groin when you thought this was fixed, and now you're just getting that basically that first batch of glossy suit. But
they wouldn't do an exchange?
No, because that's what they had. They said this is what they got from Hot Toys, and they don't really have any control over it, is what they told me.
Mm-hmm. They're just sitting on so many first. They're sitting on that many first batch figures from Begins.
It's
that many where they haven't sold beyond the glossies to get to the mats yet, because they're on that much back stock.
So you guys probably can't see, but yeah, you can't see. But I have him coming out of the tumbler. I have the tumbler open and he's stepping out. So when you're looking at it, you're getting the side profile of the cowl. And I just think that looks a lot better than the head on. I think it's too skinny. Even the likeness and the eyes are too buggy. And I'm getting the OT Customs cowl.
There you go.
Unfortunately, that's not coming until like Q3 of next year. So it's going to be a bit of a wait. But it's okay, because I got them so cheap that I can kind of deal with it. So
you got to love our collector logic. Like, I just spent, I don't know, you said 160 on it, $160 figure. But he's in the corner. You can't really see him. He's behind that $600.
He's facing side. He's sideways, side view.
I don't know. He just looks so goofy. Like the way that
it looks badass stepping out of the tumbler, though. It
looks good.
Yeah,
I'm sure
it does look really good.
I'll take a picture and I'll put it on IG tomorrow, so you guys can see.
Smart way to hide the ugliness of the figure.
Eddie says that Hulk really does pop on the shelf. It is so impressive. It steals the show. It automatically just jumps into like my top 5 or 10 favorite figures of the collection. And you guys know, like, I love Marvel, but it's not my favorite IP. So the fact that it's up there says a lot about the figure, and for being a decade old says a lot about how well done it was. So yeah, I love it. So
You guys are going to yell at me, but I've had my Hulk, Avengers 1 Hulk in the box for probably 6 months just because I don't have anywhere to display him. He's too
You
big.
have it right now?
On the kitchen
I've had him
table.
for,
Let's unbox them.
That's true. There you go.
Yeah, go get him.
Grab him
Go
right
get
now. So I am getting garage cases. I was telling
Mine's coming
Sneaker,
tomorrow.
oh, there you go. Well, looking forward to hearing your thoughts. I think I'll have a place to display him here very soon.
You have to make that garage shelf, fit. Make it so the height is high enough to fit him. He's massive. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Are you doing the garage shelf just to save money and just have something right away? Because I know you have cases.
Yeah,
Okay.
and I love my Module cases. I just want something a little bit quicker because I'm just out of space. So I think I'm going to eventually convert that into a Module case, or Costa case, as they call it, right? But
Right.
yeah, just something. It was $95 shipped. I'm like, okay, it'll do for now.
Yeah, and I know that's, I do a lot of the Maju Case videos, and actually I just became an affiliate with them. So guys, go into the description if you're looking for Maju Cases. Use my link if you would. Helps the channel out a lot. But then I can also save you $20 with a link down below. But what I've been hearing with all my videos is, people asking how long it took to wait. And I know there's still a lot of frustration about that. And I know Maju, Space, and Brian are doing everything they can to speed that up. But it's still a slow wait, and people are just frustrated. So I totally get that. I had to wait over a year for my first batch as well, and it's painful, but there he is. Be patient, keep on them about it, and hopefully they keep working to speed up the lead time, because man, that's crazy. So
yeah, but luckily their customer service is great, like you're saying, and they are definitely a great company to work with.
Right. Nothing much, Hawk. Just looking at your shop, seeing what you have available. Yeah, Hawk, I'm in the market for a Fennec or a Loki, so
break buying more figures.
Keep watching your shop there too. Tax season coming too. Yeah. I don't think this will continue to be the norm because it seems Hot Toys is producing less. That said, if the economy keeps in this direction, that could be the market. That could keep the market down regardless. Yeah.
It's true.
It's crazy expensive right now.
Born Again says I'm moving houses in January, which means brand new display. Been buying figures, beefing up my Avengers display, not knowing I happen to get Groot and Rocket from you, Graham, on eBay. Well, hey, there you go. Look at that.
Nice.
Unfortunately, I never reviewed those figures, but I'm glad you were able to buy them for me, and then it worked out. So that's awesome. That's the second time somebody has bought a figure for me and been like, I recognize like your Maju cases from the pictures. So that's really cool. I'm happy they went to a good home. So yeah, good advice, Sneaker.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mike says he almost fell into that trap of the Shore Trooper deal, but I already have a couple and didn't really need it. Tough to turn down these deals though. 50% off. So what was the deal? You buy a figure.
You spend $250. You spend $250 and you get a Shore Trooper for 50% off. So what is that? The Shore Trooper's what, $230? So you get it for $115. No, that Shore Trooper's going for like $130 all day.
Yeah, it's not worth it.
Yeah, it's okay. You can acknowledge it, Graham. $130. Okay, $130, $150. So you got to spend money to get. You have to really want that Shore Trooper.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like you could just get if you just want the Shore Trooper, you could just get it at around that price for $20 to $30 more than what they're giving it to you half off. Which is sad to say that like the half off price is not that great of a deal. It's sad.
I'd love to talk to Hawk about what he's feeling as a seller, this day and age with the economy and stuff like that too, just because how we've been programmed too recently. Like we always want the better deal and how much can you give me off? Can you beat this price and whatnot? And I'd just love to get his thoughts on what it's like on the other end of that. So Hawk, if you're still in here, let's make that happen. Let's get on the show and talk about your store and collecting figures and what it's like to sell this day and age with the economy the way it is. It's gotta be crazy. Hammer of God says I legit have an Alexa reminder that sounds off at noon every day to check on the deals on Sideshow. Yeah, that's dedication. I appreciate that. Yep. Mike says same thing, checks it every day.
And I will say, you know, the rhetoric last year during Black Friday was like, okay, this might be your last go round for Hot Toys deals. Like they're going to evaporate in the new year, and they're still around. So don't feel like you have to buy everything in the next 2 months. There's still going to be shit sitting for months to come. So there will be good deals. So don't rush out to buy everything now.
That's a good point. I mean, even things that have sold out on Sideshow, you'd think are going to be in high demand, and you're still seeing them going for super crazy deals elsewhere or in stock elsewhere that you can buy at retail. So, you know, we always say you can buy elsewhere other than Sideshow. That's kind of the mainstay, though, for here in the States. But at the same time, I think people might be more willing to branch out these days and find the deal. We got Chris Santos in the house. What's going on, my friend? Thank you for being here. L. Walker says, just opened up my Jazz Inc. Batmobile. The size is insane. I'm jealous. I would love more vehicles.
Really cool.
I just don't have the space. I have 3 vehicles, 4 if you count the Bat Pod. And yeah, it takes up a lot of real estate. TK Magic Shop in the house. What's going on?
Dude.
Hawk is thanking the Packers fan. It's been a rough go about it. I mean, Sneaker's a Patriots fan. Marco's a Raiders fan. I'm
It's a lot of pain.
Packers fan. Hawk is a Bears fan. I mean,
there's
there's
a lot of pain on this
there's
panel
no
tonight.
happiness in this room tonight.
We've had like
So,
1 or 2
that's
happy
rough.
weeks, you know, this amongst us this entire season.
Yeah.
how sad is it that I was like bittersweet when the Packers won last week? Like I wasn't all up in arms. Yeah, I'm just like, damn it. Like now we're
You never want to be in
further
the
away
middle.
from the top pick.
Yeah. In the NFL, you never want to be like an 8-win team. You either want to
Right.
suck or you want to be good.
I see us getting to 6-11. I think we'll win 3 more games. I think it's the Giants, the Bears, and the Panthers. And I don't think we win any other games. So that's what
You never know.
what I'm predicting.
You never know in the NFL.
I mean, we lost to the damn Raiders.
That's tough.
Paying coaches like $85 million to not coach for them. We got the Ben Thomas Show in the house. Hey, everyone. 1-6 fan club present. Thank you for being here, my friend. Yeah, Gladiator Hulk is also a great figure. I know DLO has that one, and he loves it. Let's see. We got Aaron Collects in the house. Thank you for being here. Hawk says, whatever you need, my friend. I'm taking that as he's going to get me a super sweet deal on a Fennec and a Loki. A sweet, sweet deal. 200 for both. Let's do it.
Please get this man a Fennec already.
He tried. He let me know a few months ago that he had one, and I'm still watching one on his page, but it's just not one of those. Like I said, it's a side piece for me, so I gotta wait to find the right deal on it. But yeah, he was trying to hook me up, so I appreciate that. Sideshow still has deals. Didn't see that coming. Yeah. Speaking of Maju cases, we have Mr. Maju Case himself, Brian Wong, in the house. Thank you for being here. Another guy that we got to get on the show. Thank you for always being, you know, super hands-on with the clientele and helping everybody out in the 1-6 community. You know, it means a lot, Brian. So thank you for being here too.
Graham, I'm so sorry. I keep flashing this, but I need to be.
You gotta,
this. My
yeah,
bad.
just gotta change the fingers up a little bit and then just too sweet it. There you go. Here, let's practice one more time. There it is. And he's got like the little Breda throw to it. You know, the Breda was
I like the open at the like.
It's the explosion, right?
Oh, we got some more heartbreak here. TK Magic Shop says Jets. Just
I
end
hate
the
the Jets.
season.
Sunday night next week, Jets Raiders. I'm shocked they didn't flex that game out. Like, why wouldn't they?
Well, and last weekend too, with all of the backup QBs playing, it was just brutal. But then you got like Jordan Love, who's not really the most fun to watch. You know, in some of these other starters, like Bryce Young, even it's just like, oh, we need some good quarterback play to keep this fun and exciting.
Don't worry, Tom Brady will come out of retirement next year.
Imagine. All right. Yeah. Queso Blanco says you'll change your mind about her when you sit her on the arm of the throne. I know. And she's,
I was going to say that too.
It's waiting. It's waiting for her. But yeah. Hammer of God says Brian is the best. Let's see. I'm making my way. I know, like, this is fun though. Like, we're just kind of talking about what's going on in the community. I appreciate that. Let's see here. Born Again says, with Thanksgiving coming up, how does football play into your holiday? Graham, being a Packers fan, did it make the day better or harder? Good question. Depends on if they win or lose. If they lost, definitely made it harder, especially on Thanksgiving. It just kind of leaves that, no pun intended, bad taste in your mouth. But luckily for us, we actually haven't played on Thanksgiving for a while. We do this year. And I don't know if I'll be able to watch. My grandmother still hosts Thanksgiving. And typically, it used to be just like 15, 20 people. But then all the cousins grew up and they had kids. And now they have spouses and whatnot. But she still gathers everybody around. So she actually, now the house is too small. So in her church, we rent the hall. And there's really no TV. There's like a park and just a big hall. So I do miss like sitting on the couch and just watching football with everybody around and eating and then just running into the room and, you know, watching football. And then we went out and played football. So that's kind of lost its pizzazz. So I don't know if I'll really be able to watch. But how about you guys? Like, I know Patriots are on once in a while. Raiders are really never on. But like even just around the holidays or your Sundays, does it affect your Sundays if your team wins or loses? Are you used to it, Marco? I mean, Sneaker is in denial probably at this point, but how about you, Marco?
They're not the real Patriots.
There we go. Yeah, we tried the Patriot way in Las Vegas. It did not work.
I mean, you got to temper your expectations at some point. It's a completely different team. You know, it's like it's way different than what it was. Like that has come to an end. Like it's an interest. It'll be I'm more interested to see like the development from here. Like it's intriguing to see what's going to happen, but it's not good in the present moment. But it happens. I'm not shocked that it's happening the way that it's happening right now, given how drastic the change has been when Tom left, and then their team is transformed from when they had these, you know, the dynasty teams, and just like it's just a way different
quite
thing
the
now.
drop off from Brady to Mac Jones.
Yep. And I don't know if Mac's that dude, but we'll see. I just don't.
You don't know? I could tell you. No, he's not.
I don't know. I don't know.
Oh, man.
And your coach has gone like, I don't know, full on. I don't know. He needs to go into the old folks' home.
They need some talent, is what they need.
Well, yeah,
it's not Bill Belichick's fault. It's not Bill Belichick's fault.
It is. It is his fault.
If there's anybody who doesn't deserve to be fired, it's him. If there's anybody who doesn't deserve to be fired, though, that actually should get some time to create something, it's him. You know what I mean?
He's earned some.
Yeah.
He's earned some.
You don't fire that. The moment they let him go, he's going somewhere else for sure. 100%.
No,
he's
like 70.
No, he'll coach till he dies.
Okay.
Yeah. No, but you guys can have Josh McDaniels back. But
he'll probably come back.
Question,
he will. He'll probably come back.
He's a lifetime offensive coordinator. That's where he needs to be. But to your question about mood, it affects my Sunday when they lose, and I know losing pretty much exclusively my entire life.
When's the last time they've been in the playoffs? Was it 2002?
No. So they made it 2 years ago. Before they hired, they
maybe that's their
Bengals.
last win. I think that's their last playoff win. Maybe.
Yeah, the last playoff win. Yeah, so they made it semi recently, but that was even a fluky season. You know, one of their players went to prison. The coach got fired midway through. So that was our playoff. But yeah, on the whole mood thing, it's no good. So the one time the Raiders played on Thanksgiving messed up my whole Thanksgiving. So just keep football out of it. Fantasy only for those days.
The one thing at like Thanksgiving that I think about is Vince Wilfork when he eats the turkey leg. Like that was like when the Patriots played on Thanksgiving, you just see like huge Vince Wilfork. He's just this massive dude. He's like this is super nice defensive lineman for the Patriots, just like destroying this turkey leg.
Was it the turducken that he was going?
I think so. I think so. Like you gotta
go watch. You ever see him cut it with his hand? I'm like, that's not sanitary. But
you got to go check out Vince Wilfork eating a turkey leg on YouTube.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Iconic.
Let's see here. L Walker says he's going to be placing some Moducase order in the next month. Brian says use the Jedi reference link, and yes, that is in the description below. So, yeah, help me out. Let's see here. Oh, Brian says, Graham, can I buy the Wolfpack tees? Yes, we can hook you up. I haven't done a very good job at like advertising these tees, but Brick's wife actually made these tees, and she has her own little don't know if it's an LLC, but she has her own business where she makes a lot of cool T-shirts, mugs, whatever you can think of, she can print. So I need to just kind of get with her and have her make some more, and then we can sell them and whatnot. So if you're interested, yeah, hit me up, let me know, and I can get you a price and whatnot. But Brian, for you, I could probably make it a free shirt and get you that. So appreciate you being on here. Born Again says, I live in Northern California and following the 49ers since 93. Steve Young was my dude. They play on Thanksgiving this year. Have to mentally prepare myself. Who do they play? I don't know. Let me know.
I didn't realize they played this. Wow.
Yeah, I didn't either. I just I know the Packers play the Lions, and I'm deathly afraid, which is not a feeling I'm used to.
Yeah, those Lions are tough, and I know there's a Black Friday game this year too, which is pretty cool.
I don't like that. I don't like the Thursday night games, to be honest. Like, I like watching, but the quality of football. I don't like the London games. I hate the London games more than the Thursday night games because it's usually terrible football. And I know for you, Marco, it's really early.
It's like 6:30 over here.
Yeah, that's rough.
Yeah, I don't know. Just not for it, but it is what it is. We're caught up on the chat. We've had some pretty good talk already here. Let me just get rid of this. We're going to just jump into the announcements / releases because there was some news. It's been a little slow here, but again, it's going to pick up really quickly too. I did miss something. We have another new channel member, and it's Daniel Brancato. Thank you so much for becoming a part of the watch. Again, you have unlocked perks, emojis, your name on each and every one of my videos, as well as member giveaways that we're going to do periodically here. So thank you for being here. Do appreciate it. And thank you for becoming a member. Really quickly too, the poll closed it off. We had 40 votes. Are you being more selective than normal this holiday season? 77% said yes to 22% no. So I think a lot of people, majority of people are, prepping and feeling a little bit of the pinch for the holiday season. So just so we're good there. Let me bring up, I got to represent this because I closed out my window before. Let's start with the Grand Inquisitor. So this was released, was it late last week, something like that, or early this week? I don't remember, but he's out. I want to get your guys' thoughts on this. If this is something you're going to pick up, how do you think it turned out compared to the prototype? Marco, you're our guest. I want to start with you on this. What are your thoughts? Is this something that you'd be in the market for? And go.
Yeah, so at first thought, I thought the sculpt was maybe, there was some degradation there in terms of the likeness, but looking at the prototype, no, it actually looks pretty close to what they advertised. So that's definitely a win in that department. And this is one that I thought about for a while because I like these dark side characters. So although he didn't do much in the show, I didn't necessarily like, not necessarily like, I disliked Obi-Wan. I didn't think it was a particularly good show. So there wasn't, beyond it being, a dark side character, there wasn't a ton of redeeming qualities. And then I was excited for the USB saber to see what that tech looks like. Well, turns out that's a dud. So one that I'm pretty happy that I didn't go out and pre-order because, it's just one that I know if I had him on the way right now during this really busy season, which we just talked about, I probably would, be dreading it a bit. Like, okay, I've got my money allocated to this character that I don't really love. So in that sense, I've got some, appreciation that past me didn't go out and do something drastic. But yeah, I think overall, like it's a nice release. Hot Toys has just really got to do something with these USB sabers, or just the sabers in general. LED technology has come so far. It's so cheap. There's got to be a way that they could light these up better than what they're doing. It's just so subpar at this point.
No, I agree with you. One quick question. You said you weren't a big fan of Kenobi. Have you watched Rebels?
I have not.
Okay.
And I'm not a...
Because I was just wondering if you did, if that would have thrown some weight on liking this figure a little bit more. But
yeah, and you know, the same was with Ahsoka. I didn't love Ahsoka. I thought it was like a pretty neat story and it looked cool, but you know, folks were telling me, well, you didn't see Rebels. So I'm like, yeah, I don't love the logic that you had to have watched another show to appreciate a different property, but I think everyone's right. I probably would have enjoyed it a bit more, but I don't love that precedent for sure.
I agree too with the saber. Like, I think it's just such a bummer. You come up with the technology to micro USB it, but it's still the same technology in the saber, and you're getting the same light up effect where it doesn't even light the full blade, and it just looks. I just think it looks terrible. But yeah, like you said, there's got to be a way that they could just make this more of an even lit saber, a blade, and I just don't think they're doing it. I don't know if it's cutting corners, cutting costs, just keeping things relatively cheap. Sneaker, and you're getting this. What are your what are your thoughts? I mean, are you satisfied with how this turned out? I think the head sculpt looks great, but I agree with Marco on some of the gimmicks that just aren't really living up to the hype with the USB-C and just the blades and attaching it to the pleather belt, that pack on the back. So what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I think the LED lightsaber, it's with how bright they can make like these, what are they, diodes of like the LEDs, like this LED light I have behind me, these little tiny lights that are right. If you look at this thing, like it will blind you if you stare at it for too long when you have so many of them. But like you can get one of those diodes so bright, if that's even the right term for it. Like, it's surprising that they're not able to make it brighter than it is based on how bright you can make LEDs. It's going to be interesting to see what they do with that. Are they going to actually like take feedback into account and be like, wow, these are not really all that, that much better. With that being said too, like they're providing a USB-C plugin and they're not really changing the price for it either. And I think it's a step in the right direction. That's what I'll say primarily about the USB-C thing. It's a step in the right direction because I can tell you right now, I will never ever put a battery in a figure and light up a figure with batteries unless maybe I'm taking a picture. That's off the table. Yeah. Never would I ever use a LED battery arm, all that stuff. I couldn't care less if it was even in the box. If I bought a figure and like if none of those included LED battery arms, I wouldn't care. So this is a step in the right direction of I think if they can get it right, like imagine if this did light it up better and you could plug it in and every figure moving forward with a lightsaber had this ability, or even if they started selling hilts or something where you could get plug-in hilts and plug-in lightsabers that they sold separately potentially or something like that would be really cool. Probably like kind of dreaming about that happening, something selling separate, but I do think it's a step. Though? Yeah, why not? I know, why not? I think it'd be great to get some type of like accessory thing where like if you want to go back and do it for these old characters, you can get a way to light up the hilt. That'd be cool. I think that'd be really cool. Do an accessory pack or a hilt pack for these characters. I think that'd be great. I will say the light up chest is cool. I don't know. I'll be interested to see when I get it in hand. Like I want to test it out for myself. That's when I'll make my final. I want to see how it is for myself, like in my display under my lighting, and see what it looks like lit up. Graham, you made the point about, excuse me, hanging the hook on the back of the pleather belt. That I don't like, because you're hanging that little hook that the pack that you have to plug in the USB-C cable to. How hot is that little box going to get? And we talk about it all the time. You need your pleather climate controlled. So if that box is sitting on that hook and it's pressed right up against the pleather strap, what's going to happen if you leave that thing on for a few hours and then you... Like, is that going to degrade your pleather over time because you have this hot battery or hot plug-in pack sitting on the back of it? Is that going to get warm? Maybe not. That could be totally overblown with what I'm saying, but that definitely shouldn't be a concern. You know what I mean? Like, if that gets warm, I'm not going to want to hang it off of his belt. And then I'm definitely not going to want to hang it on the crotch grabber, which is the alternative, because I don't use stands for the majority of my figures, unless it's like a really unique stand. So I'm more intrigued of getting it in hand and kind of messing with that stuff. With that being said, it's not a make or break for me as far as the USB. If he came without a USB saber, I would still be fine getting this figure. He looks great. I think he looks great. I know a lot of people, I shouldn't say a lot, I know there's some people who have issues with the transformation of the likeness of Grand Inquisitor from Rebels, like from animation into live action. He doesn't look the same. His species was already in the prequels, and like they changed the shape of his head, so I know a lot of people have issues with that.
Yep.
With that being said, I'll say that with what we got for the show, like this is a really good likeness. I really enjoyed Kenobi. I like the Grand Inquisitor. I think Inquisitors are really cool. Like they look badass. His armor is really cool. He's gonna look really awesome standing next to Darth Vader. There's some photos I've seen of him next to Darth Vader, and he looks badass. Like this is like makes me want to get a clean version of Kenobi Vader, just like a standard version, to pose him next to like with him, and maybe
This
like
boy's in trouble.
yeah, it's like this is like, and that's where you got to be careful, right? But this is like I'm definitely excited because like, and we also don't like, I always love when they do different, I always say this, like in Star Wars, it's always nice to get a different species just outside of a human. Like we don't get enough of that. Anytime we get like Thrawn, Hera, you know, when you get these different species of characters, it just really like, I feel like can really elevate your display, having like the different looks, and this fits right into that category for me. And he's a badass character, I guess, whatever you want to say about Kenobi, like his, you know, story throughout the animated stuff. You guys were talking about how you're not like, Marco, you haven't really seen the animated stuff. It's something that, you know, if you don't know much about like the connection to this character, yeah, you're probably not really going to have one. And there's people that have seen the animated stuff who are like, I don't like the way that the Grand Inquisitor looks in live action. Yeah. So it's kind of a lose for both those categories. For me, it is what it is. This is how they brought him into live action. I don't get too caught up in that. I think the likeness is good. I didn't really have problems with him as a character. I'm excited. I'm excited to get this figure. It's something I pre-ordered. I like Inquisitors are badass to me. It's something that's going to look really good. I'm excited to get the Kenobi figures grouped together because I love Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan is my favorite. Everybody knows he's my favorite character. He's my boy, Obi-Wan the GOAT. Are you
all in on the Inquisitors as well if they do?
So I didn't pre-order Reva, but I don't know.
Hypocrite.
We'll see where that's going to be one where like I know she's waitlisted, but I just don't see her holding value.
The character is just too divisive. Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah, but I will say they nailed the light. Like for her head sculpt, if they get it close to what they've shown in the prototype, like she's gonna look really cool next to him and next to Vader. Like she's gonna be a cool figure to have. So we'll see. That's the only figure that I didn't pre-order from Kenobi. Hopefully they don't miss this opportunity to create the other Inquisitors, because the other ones from the show are really cool too. Like if you were to get them grouped together, that would look, I'm all about getting more Inquisitors. And please, Hot Toys, do Jedi Fallen Order figures so we can get more Inquisitors and we can get Cal Kestis, so this stuff can like, so then we can really get it going like with the display, right?
How do we not have a Cal yet?
We need Jedi Fallen Order and Survivor figures and more things like this character. Bring us more of this.
You get a Scout Trooper, and that is it.
Come on. Don't give us a Scout Trooper commander. Like I want a Cal, you know, like we have to, that's just like, you have to start doing that, you know, so that'll elevate it too. But yeah, I really like the show. Really enjoyed the show, especially the stuff between Obi-Wan and Anakin. I thought like, I just love that. I thought the lightsaber.
Yeah, I love that part too.
I thought like great. The two, and they gave us more than one battle, like more than one fight between them. I thought that was just awesome. Like seeing Vader walk up again, just like anything Vader just gets me really excited. You know, anything
hot
Vader.
And bothered.
Yep. You know, when he's walking through that, you know, he's walking down the street of that little village and just menacing, right? Yeah,
that was a great part of the show.
Yeah, like, you know, like they really like to bring back Vader is always a treat, right? So I really like the show. I know people had it's a treat.
That was a real treat seeing that.
Real treat seeing Darth Vader. So yeah, I digress, but yeah, about the show. But yeah, I'm excited to get this one in hand and kind of tinker around with it and see for myself. I want to see for myself. The videos have been
on the way yet or no?
Nope, not on the way. But I'll be, and also like, I mean, you guys know I don't get I rarely get stuff. The only time I get stuff from Sideshow is if like something's on sale, or like I have a decent amount of rewards, or it's exclusive to Sideshow. So like Obi-Wan has that like exclusive boxed hilt set where you get like the 2 lightsaber hilts in it. It's exclusive special edition. You can only get in the US at Sideshow unless you get from overseas. So got him from Sideshow. Otherwise I don't really order from them much. Yep. But so we'll see. I'm not in a rush for him to be available for me to buy or pay off. I'll tell you that right now. But yeah, we'll see when he comes through. I'll be excited excited to get him pose up. The pictures that I've seen, like I said, of him next to Vader and some other characters look promising. So yeah, I'm excited for this one.
No, I think the likeness looks really good, but I'm just bummed about the lightsaber. Like, you think there's this new technology coming, and then it's just really like, is it even worth it? You know, like, you're having all these cables and everything. Is it worth the hassle, or it doesn't really look different? Or like Casablanco said, you know, the problem would be solved is just paint the saber just to make it look lit instead of keeping translucent. I was showing Sneaker, you know, my video on doing that last weekend when he stopped over. You know, I used to do fluorescent paint and paint the blades to make them look lit up, and that looked pretty good. I don't know,
that
like,
cool.
There's got to be just a different way. Like, if
yeah,
I don't know,
they need
like,
to just put more R&D into
great,
the
but
yeah, they need to put more R&D into the LEDs, and like they need to not cheap out on the, you know, on the quality of it. You can get a brighter LED in that saber, 100%. With how far LED technology has come, it 100% can be done, and they need
and the
to
sabers,
figure
they
that out.
really do like change the figure. Marco, I don't know. Do you have any CCFLs?
I don't. You know, I'm a little bit worried about that technology, just how hot they get.
It's so expensive.
It looks beautiful. It's expensive too, but you know, I've seen them in
kidding.
Calvin's display in person, and they're a game changer. Like, they take the figures to the next level. But
They do. Like, if they could just
Can't
get this
get over,
right,
can't get over
because when
that
you have a
tip.
cheap, well, and especially, I don't know if you'll see this, but especially when the blade is so desaturated. Like, is that green or is that just clear? Like, this is just a stock blade, and it just looks so terrible that I don't know. It cheapens the figure. It makes it look more like a toy. So I
I'm
really
not an
think
engineer,
if
but this can't be this hard to do. Like, it really can't.
it's just like the capes though. Like, why can't you make a good cape? You know,
they've gotten better though, right? Like,
they have
added a few
gotten
more
better.
wide
because it's
options.
mass produced. Because you got to remember, it's still mass produced. You know,
no, I remember nothing.
Yeah, you gotta remember, it's still mass produced, and like that's another thing. The thing about the cables is a really good point, because then you have to buy either like some type of USB strip, like a USB-C strip, or this doesn't come with the plug. So like, if you have, and imagine once you start getting more of these, you get 10, 20 figures that have these, you're gonna have to start lining the back of your cases with LED like with USB strips. Like, I know, Graham, you already have one in your case for like you have plugs and stuff that sit in the back of your cases. Like, that becomes a lot to manage when you have all these black cables running behind figures, and then you have to route them to the back of the case. You have to route those out of your case. You're plugging all this stuff into power strips. It becomes a lot to manage when you have all these things that you have to plug in. So then you got to go out and invest more money, or invest more into more stuff. You have to buy power strips. You have to buy longer USB cables to run them down the length of your cases. So it's just like, it's going to ultimately make it so you have to buy more stuff to be able to even plug it in. So that's just kind of like another factor.
So yeah, here's the back of the actual figure. This is from the sideshow video, and you see the whole box and the cables. It's cool that it hooks up the saber and his like chest piece, but even the cable looks, it's small, but even the cable looks a lot bigger than I thought it would. Like, I thought
a better way.
the CCFLs are really small cables that you barely even see, and these just look thicker too. So it's just kind of a bummer. But
other thing is how this USB. So this is powering two things. It's powering his chest piece, and it's powering the lightsaber. I mean, am I wrong in saying that, like, if you're only powering one thing, you can put more power into it and therefore make something brighter potentially? So like, is the brightness going to vary when you're only powering one thing versus having this now? This is plugged into two separate things that you're powering. Is that going to divert some power into his chest and therefore make the lightsaber not light up as much? Like, in future figures, if it's just going to the lightsaber, is that going to be brighter? Time will tell. Probably, my guess is probably no. But if they can put that much power into to power two things, you think they'd be able to make it brighter.
I agree. I don't know, because I don't know. I guess I thought in my head, like, this was a game changer for, you know, the new sabers coming in, and really, I don't see myself going away from the CCFLs at this point. Like, they just look so damn cool. And I have, Marco, I know I had the same worries as you. Really worried about the heating up and whatnot, and, you know, even being enclosed, how is that going to be? But I have them on like the lowest setting. They still look really bright, but I've gone after like 2 hours of them on, go to touch them, and they don't feel warm at all. I'm never away from the display when it's on, but I do have it through remote where I can turn those off too. So sometimes I'll have the lights on in the display, but not the sabers.
Oh, they're separate. Okay.
Yeah, so I have them separate just in case. But I agree. I did a video on it too, on why I was kind of afraid to do them, and they are expensive sneaker. You're right about that. There's no way around that.
That's the toughest thing. Like if I had less figures, maybe I would consider it, but like once I go down that path, then it's like, oh, I want to get one for this, and then you have to send your hilt out and get it drilled into, and like then once your hilt is modified, unless they get that for you.
Chris's custom sabers, actually, he said, because I asked him if he 3D prints them, because you don't have to send your hilt. You used to, and now you don't have to anymore. But I asked him if they're 3D printed, and he said no, they're the Hot Toys ones. So I don't know how he's getting them, but
yeah,
that's nice though, because yes, that was another concern of mine. Was now I got to send you my hilt, pay for postage, then destroy my hilt.
Yeah,
but
there's no going back.
Because
going back once you do that.
Because my Luke, you can kind of see, you can see the saber, but this is the saber that came with him. So now I have a separate saber. So that's kind of nice that you don't have to worry about that getting destroyed. So, let me just check in here. Ben Thomas had an interesting comment, because I know Marco, I asked, like, if you watched Rebels, maybe you'd like this figure more. But he actually said because he watched Rebels, he likes this figure less because it's not accurate to Rebels. So that's an interesting take on the figure too. So just thought
that's what I was talking about. Like if either you like Rebels and you like the character and you don't mind how he transitioned into live action, or you're mad because of how he looked in Rebels.
Right.
You're not necessarily mad, but like you're not happy with how the figure turned out because they changed his look so much.
Right. Yeah, TK Magic Shop says you can never leave them on while not in the room. Yeah, I don't trust them that much. So Hawk is heading out. Thank you for being here, Hawk. Appreciate you, man. I will hit you up soon here. Fusion Reactors has CCFL like sabers without the cons of the tech, no heat, cool to touch, etc.
Interesting.
USB hub is a necessity. Striker says rather deal with wires to power the lightsaber than to unattach the arm. Yes, unattach the arm, put batteries in. That's a good point too. I mean, I guess for me, I never did that because I didn't even want to mess with it. So, but if you were one of those people that really want it lit up, this is a much better alternative to switching out the arm, putting batteries in. So yes, true.
Step in the right direction.
Yeah.
Another thing is like if you light, I wondered too about the LED. Like the base of the lightsaber is always going to be brighter than the end of it too, based on how the light is projected through it. Unless they light it up somehow where they put individual throughout the blade.
That's got to be
put
it, right?
individual lights, right? Because it's always, no matter if they make it too bright, the bottom is going to get too saturated with light, and then the end of it might be bright, but the base is always going to be brighter. That's I feel like another limitation. Whereas like these CCFLs, they're one consistent string all the way through. They're one consistent color. Like that's going to be, I feel like, the hard part of the tech maybe.
Yeah.
And this is where we need that competition in the Star Wars realm, right? Because Sideshow is not pushing Hot Toys. And so if there was another company doing Star Wars, I bet you they'd have this figured out right away. But because they're the only name or the only game in town, they just get to, push out these incremental updates that are just not good enough yet.
InArt would have done a better job. No, just riling people up out there. Don't worry about it.
That's right.
Any final thoughts on this guy?
Cool cape.
Baby.
Cool cape, but the hood doesn't look great though. Hood does not look great.
I'm curious to see, and I know Marco, you said you weren't the biggest fan of Ahsoka, but I'm curious to see what you guys think of Merrick as this figure was announced. And it's a curious figure. I understand why Hot Toys did this. It's because there's no likeness, so it's an easy figure to just push out there. I think the price is $265 on Sideshow, which seems very high to me for what you get. It's a character, in my opinion, that didn't do anything, didn't really amount to anything, didn't really have an arc. I think the figure itself looks really good. I love the weathering and the rust effects, and the pitting going on in the armor. I think that's really good. But it's not something that I think I'm going to pick up. In fact, I know I'm not. But the other thing I'm wondering, and we'll talk about this, but I'm wondering, does this make Balin and Shin more likely or less likely to come out? So those are the questions that I have. Sneaker, I want to start with you on this. I know you're big on Ahsoka. You're big on Star Wars. Is this figure one that you feel like needs to be in your collection, or is it more like a trooper status where it, it's just not there? You don't need it.
Yeah, this is a tough one. For me, it's tough. It's interesting because I've been seeing kind of seeing comments, and some people are like, yeah, this is definitely not getting this whatsoever. I have no interest in this. And then the other side has been like, this figure looks really badass, so awesome, I'm definitely going to be getting it. Like I feel like hasn't been in between that I've seen. It's either just been like full on one way or the other today, what I've seen comment wise. But this is tough because he was so limited in the show. Like, he was so limited. There was so much hype about who this character is. Right. Could he be like a main character, something more intriguing? We talked about the theories of him being potentially like Star Killer from the game, of like, there were some really hype things that they could have taken advantage of. And what happens? Spoiler alert. Well, I won't say it out loud, but you know what happens to this character. Not around much. You don't really know much about him. Is he made from Night Sister magic? We don't know, other than that, like, he was an Inquisitor, right? So this is really tough because it is kind of like trooper status, but like, troopers are more iconic to me, I feel like, in general. Like, I really like collecting troopers, but troopers are always, when you think of a trooper, you always think of like the set piece, or like the movie. It will automatically take you to that movie, and it'll probably cue you in on some type of scene when it comes to troopers. I think that's what really pulls me in. Not only do they have a cool design, but like Rogue One, the way like the themes of that movie, the troopers just fit, and they're all really, really cool. He's just like this intriguing character where we don't know anything about him. He looks really cool, but like, it's hard for me at this point to buy something because it looks really cool. That's kind of where I'm getting at in my collecting, is like,
and it's so expensive to buy it just because it's a cool piece. But carry on.
It's really, that's kind of like where I'm starting to head to when it comes to my collection, is like, I can't buy stuff I'm getting too many things. Like, there's too many things I want, and now I'm starting to branch out more. It's hard to just buy something because it looks really cool. Right. Like, the attachment isn't there, but I love the figure. That's where it's like, I'm kind of in a conundrum because I love the figure. I think they nailed it. I think his design is so cool. This is just a character that I wish we would have gotten more information on, and maybe we will. Maybe that'll change. Maybe they'll say some stuff, but if it does change, I mean, what does it really matter now if they say more about him in the past? Like, does he show up in like a prior type of Star Wars content? But it's right now, I just like don't really. He's really cool looking, had cool fights, but he was not a big part of anything. He was basically a character that was in it for cool lightsaber battles, cool fights. He's like on the baddie side. So it's hard. They nailed the figure though. I mean, it looks so badass. It's
a great looking figure.
His design is so cool, but it's really hard, like I said, for me to buy something because it's really, really cool. That's kind of where I'm at right now in my collecting. I don't think I'm going to pick this one up right away.
And I think too, if there was some sort of arc where, even if he died and he was unmasked, and he, one of the theories was right, and you found out about all this stuff, maybe then that would carry some weight. But then to just disappear as part of like magic, the witch's magic, it doesn't really mean anything to me. And Marco, I guess let us know what you think, because do you agree? Like, it's just, there's no meaning to it. It's kind of like, why would I spend this amount of money to get a figure that I don't really care for?
Well, I will say right now, right, because he did really nothing in the show. Had a cool battle or two, a few cool scenes, and then I saw someone describe him as a green fart. Was what he amounted to, which was a pretty great way to describe him. So yes, so overall, but that's for now. But in a few years, they're probably going to release a comic book to tell you all about his backstory, and then the real Star Wars fans and the real collectors are going to know that this is a must-have figure. I say that extremely tongue-in-cheek because I think he looks great. Like it's a really cool. You could see the Knight inspiration, obviously, with his costuming, with Shin Hati and with Balin. So I kind of liked it if you had all three of them. But I'm very skeptical that Hot Toys is going to do the other two. I think they're doing him because he's low-hanging fruit,
right? And
the other two require a lot more effort. And just like we were talking about Cal Kestis, they've given us, a trooper from the game, but not even the main character. So trying to predict what Hot Toys is going to do, if you're saying I'm going to get this because they're definitely going to do those other two, I wouldn't bank on it. But yeah, I think overall it is a cool figure, but just like the previous, Inquisitor that we just talked about, it's one that I just cannot justify adding because I know that there's so much other good stuff that's coming out that this one would just end up being like, okay, he's a nice to have piece, but that capacity, that opportunity cost is not worth it for me personally for a show that I didn't love.
Sure. The most interesting thing for me here was seeing this tease of the white Ahsoka. The headdress, what do you call him, Sneaker?
The Leku.
Leku is longer, more accurate to what we saw in Ahsoka.
The paint is a lot better on it. It looks like.
So we're getting her, and we'll talk about her in a minute. But do you guys think? I don't think there's a chance we get Balin. With him passing, I just don't see it. And I know it depends on who has the rights to his likeness. But what do you guys think? Do you think there's any chance that we do get a Balin? Because Balin carries more weight to the show than Merrick, but this is just a super easy figure they can just push out. So what are you guys' thoughts on that?
I'm gonna go out on a limb and say I think we get Shin and Balin. Actually,
that is a limb. I hope it doesn't break on you.
I think it's gonna happen. They're releasing everything for the show, and if you think about the show, there's not a lot that they can. There's not really a lot. The only other character would be Morgan Elsbeth, which they're maybe that's I feel like that's a stretch. They've already got Thrawn. The only other thing is if they did like a Night Trooper or Ezra.
They're definitely going to do that.
They got to do Enoch.
They're probably they could. Enoch would be a really cool.
That one will come, I think.
So this is another thing is like this show has a lot of. In the case of for this figure, if you get a Shin and Balin having this figure next to them, now that like really elevates it, right? That's when I would probably be like, just like then you have like the set for the show, and that's like having him as a standalone. Cool looking figure, but having him with Shin and Balin is a whole different story. You know what I mean?
Agree.
To me,
that's a sick display, but you cannot bank on them doing it.
You can't bank on them doing it. So, but if that were to happen, I would change probably my mind on this figure if Shin and Balin were announced. I'll say, I think they're gonna. I think they're gonna come out with them. I do. I think, and if I guess the really like the main, I think Shin Hati's coming. I think she's for sure. I think she's a for sure. Balin is going to be kind of like the one that's up in the air, but it would be so weird if they did Shin and they didn't have Balin. That would make no sense if they only had one or the other.
They've got to do both.
Yeah. So in that case, I think I'm gonna. I do. I think we're gonna get them both.
I think they want to do Balin. I just don't know where.
Yeah, that's like
stand.
Yeah, like unfortunately, like obviously he passed away. It'd probably be different if he was alive, but it's interesting. It's really interesting how that works because I forget who we were talking to this about, but like these companies when they get likenesses and stuff for characters within a show, like Hasbro, like Hasbro already made a Shin and Balin. You know what I mean? So like those characters have already been created in Black Series.
True, that's a good point.
So it's like how does the I think there's stuff that we don't know about likenesses and like licenses for actors. Like I think sometimes when they sign on to these shows too, it's like, okay, we're allowed to use your likeness for certain things. Like you coming onto the show, you're signing this contract. We can now take your likeness and use it to market the show. That's another thing is Balin was all over the marketing for this show too. You know what I mean? So I think it's I don't know the ins and outs of that, but I feel like I don't know if it's just like, oh, the actor has to give approval because he could have potentially already given approval in his contract. I feel like some of that is probably pertinent when it comes to them getting their likeness, but it's hearsay at this point because we don't really know. But I do think we get both. I think we get Shin and Balin. I do.
Very good.
Shin more likely, but I think we get both.
I agree. Yeah,
we'll see.
No, and I understand why they'd want to do characters kind of like they did with Mando. This show was a hit. I think it was well done. A lot of new figures and characters that they could do. So I don't see why they wouldn't. But I guess time will tell. Safel says, I loved the Jedi in Rebels, but his portrayal in Obi-Wan was a character assassination. LOL. I don't mind his head shape, but they could have at least given him black eyes. Also, hello all. Hello. Thank you for being here. Quesablanco says in regards to Merrick that this came out of left field. Yeah, I was not expecting this figure. So I agree with you, Sneaker, that it does tell me they're going to go all out. Plus, they're already teasing Ahsoka, which we knew was going to come out. But we'll talk about that in 1 second. Hammer of God says this price should be $235, $240 tops for retail. I agree. No portrait, not a lot of accessories other than the saber, not a lot of hands. What do you guys feel about the price of this? Does that push you away even more? What do you think a fair price for this figure would be?
I like that 235. Yeah, I think that sounds
235 sounds about right.
Just really, really basic, but they're going to keep pushing those prices.
Yeah, I think that's the world we live in now, unfortunately, for figures. It's going to be rare for us to see these 235, 240s at this point for some of these things, unless it's really, really generic, I guess. He's like kind of a unique character design. He's different than kind of some others, but yeah, 265 I think is I would say maybe is a little bit steep. I'd like to see it less, but it's just that's the way
you can get more prominent figures with a portrait for about the same price.
Yeah, isn't Thrawn, what's Thrawn, 270?
I want to say he was around the same price.
Yeah. So that's where it's kind of like, yeah, that's interesting that, you're getting a full-on head sculpt and it's around the same price. This figure would be badass if they made him die cast.
$255 for Thrawn.
$255.
Oh, so he's more expensive than Thrawn?
Yeah,
that seems that's too much.
But wasn't light up saber though is worth at least.
It's worth it, right?
Probably what they're going off of.
Yeah.
We got X-Man Supreme, my cigar loving friend, in the chat here. He says, hey, look, if we're going by Boba Fett and Darth Maul rules, this is the coolest character of the series. Touche.
That's a great point. That's a great point.
Yeah.
He's a cool, he is a really cool looking character, right? We just don't know anything about him.
Casablanca says, I'll pick him up when he's 50% off with qualified purchase. Let's see. LED Nintendo Switch or this figure. I'll buy it for like 150. Yeah, I mean, it's a good point. There's other stuff. Watch them pull a Hawkeye with Ahsoka. That would be horrendously funny. I don't think they will, but it's always in the back of your mind, right? Because they've done it with the Batmobile. They've done it with Hawkeye. There's other figures that just took forever to come out, after they teased them. But he says, the series makes me want troopers, and that's saying something. We'll definitely get Hu Yang 2. We already have him as a hologram from the Chopper announcement. Yeah, I believe he'll be coming too.
He'd be
plus,
so
as a
cool
droid, people love droids.
He would just be incredible diecast, like an incredible diecast figure. I really hope they make him diecast if they make him.
Yeah, you just got that C-3PO from Attack of the Clones, and you were blown away by that figure in half. Yeah. Let's see. I don't want him to make Hu Yang or Shin or the troopers because I'll buy them. LOL. Damn shame. I'm still waiting on my Hawkeye figure. I don't know if that one's coming. But, yeah. So, Ahsoka is what I'm really concerned about here. Sometimes, would you guys agree, sometimes Hot Toys can be, a little lazy with some of their figures?
let's just say overextended. They're overextended and they've got to pick and choose what they can make.
So they're giving us the longer sneaker.
Oh, Leku. Yeah, the
Leku.
Leku. Yeah.
They're giving us the longer Leku, but I don't know if you guys have. I know Sneaker has the Ahsoka figure. Marco, do you have the Ahsoka figure?
I do.
Them one?
Yeah.
So
Mando one.
the headdress, the Leku, is detachable, right?
That's right.
What?
Her face comes off.
So could this be? Could they do us dirty and do the same head sculpt, just dyeing the colors of the costume and giving us a different Leku, and it's the same head sculpt? Could you guys see that?
I fully expect that.
Oh, see,
I hope they don't.
I won't get the figure, I don't think, if it's the same head sculpt.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, another thing too. Yeah, it's tough. Another thing too is like the Leku is accurate to the Mandalorian Ahsoka is the Leku is accurate. Like they actually changed the.
Yes.
They actually like revamped and like made the technology better for the Leku that she was wearing. So like they actually like revamped it. So like I feel like that's accurate. I really want to say because I want it in my soul for them to do an updated head sculpt on this figure. They need to, and I think like.
But do they do the Doc Brown and say, we'll just give you the same head sculpt, we'll change the outfit, boom, push it out the door?
Another thing is like, do they go the Tony Stark route and make another head sculpt like they do for all these other ones? Granted, some of them were the same, but I feel like, you know, they've changed up that head sculpt. It's been, I don't know, because Ahsoka, like, it's also interesting because like that one just came out so recent.
That's the other thing I was going to bring up. It's fairly new, so they
yeah.
might want to try to get more money out of it. It's not terrible, but I don't see Rosario Dawson in it. And I think the rolling eye system, it made the eyes, and you could say this about the Clone Wars one too, it just made the eyes look more buggy, like not realistic. And I think that hurt the head sculpt on that figure. So I'm worried about that. And maybe, but the thing I'm holding on hope to is maybe they're saving it for last because they're still, you know, trying to get it to look just right.
I think they're going to change it.
Okay, well, there you go.
I think they're going to change it. I'm going to make another bold prediction because another thing is like they could have teased like an angle of her face here. Like, why didn't they just show like they could have just showed the same face, the same head sculpt.
I like
if
that.
it was going to be the same head sculpt, they could have just literally made this like a little mock-up of a new one, gave us a tease showing that if it was the same head sculpt, why not just show the same head sculpt? Yeah. Why hide it here? You know, unless you're hiding stuff on the front. But I'll tell you right now, the outfit for her is going to be the exact same as it is for Mandalorian. It's just going to be different colors, right? With some subtle differences. The outfit's really not all that different. It's just different dye color. It's going to be relatively similar outfit wise. So that's going to be like, that now, like to me, they're showing a picture from like just the back of her. Like that to me says that why are they hiding the head sculpt if it was going to be the same? Like you're going to do a reveal of the same looking thing. You know what I mean? So like that tells me that maybe there's a hint that we could be getting something different.
This is odd with the gray here.
Well, that's because remember she wasn't in her different outfit.
Yeah,
yet.
That's true.
Yep.
But they didn't fight each other when she was in the white.
Yeah, but they showed her. They just showed this tease randomly, which they do in a lot of stuff, right? They just show like these random teases. So I think we're going to get, I'll go out on another bold prediction here, if that's considered a bold prediction, and say, like, I think they're going to update it. Because why not just show us then, like, if this is going to be the same head sculpt, why not just show it? There's no reason to hide it, I guess,
because they like to break our hearts.
Yeah, and if they show the same one, I'll be the optimistic collector here and say that I think they're going to do an update.
You're ultra optimistic, and I do appreciate that.
I'm going to be ultra optimistic, guys. Yeah, mark it
I guess
down.
I just, you know, I just think about how satisfied most fans were with the show, right? They really enjoyed this show. Again, I didn't personally love it, but so what's the minimum that Hot Toys needs to do in order to sell this figure to a lot of collectors? And like you said, it's a similar outfit, if not the same thing, just different colors. I think that they could just push that out with the same head sculpt, and a lot of people are going to buy it. You know, the first figure sold out right on Sideshow. Seemed like a pretty popular release, you know, minus a few issues that were pretty prevalent. People were generally satisfied with it. So I think that that's all that they have to do to sell this release. And so I think they understand the market and they're just going to do that. Now, I hope I'm wrong. But part of me also hopes that I am right, because I don't want to buy another Ahsoka figure. If it looks way better than this one that I already have, I might be a bit bummed. But if it's, just a different costume with the same sculpt, I can live with what I got. So, yeah, Sneaker, appreciate your optimism, though.
Thanks.
Yeah,
I think
brings me to my next question.
Go ahead. Yeah.
So let's just say they update the head sculpt and you like it, right? Would you get this one and keep your other one, get this one, or sell your other one, or just keep your old one?
I mean, I'm getting this figure regardless of what they do with the head sculpt, so it doesn't really matter to me,
I
honestly.
shouldn't even ask you. I'll just ask Mark.
I'm getting this figure because, like, it's an iconic... This is an iconic transition for Ahsoka, and it's going to be really critical moving forward what this does for her character, just knowing what Ahsoka is throughout Star Wars and how this was, like, a really big turning point for her after, talking... or after the whole scene with Anakin, right? So... I really that's another thing, regardless of what happens, like I want this Ahsoka in my collection anyways, because it's a really pivotal moment for her character and her character development. And it's going to look really good. It would also be kind of like, I guess if they did update the head sculpt, it would be kind of weird having, because I would also really like to display these kind of next to each other a little, and potentially, whether or not I switch that up in my display, have it temporary, but having both of her versions next to each other, I think would actually look pretty cool. And if they had different head sculpts that were drastically different, that would look weird in the display too. So there's that aspect of it. But I would rather have an updated head sculpt and display them separate. I'll say that. But yeah, I guess I'm getting this figure anyways. So
it's kind of funny that Merrick was announced and we're pretty much here getting hyped up about Ahsoka and just talking about her. But
you gotta have it. It's the show, right? You gotta have her released, right?
Sure.
But Marco, what would it take for you to get this one? Because you already have the other one.
I think the sculpt would have to be significantly better, and it would have to come with some really cool accessory. I can't really think of anything off the top of my head, but something that was specific to this version. Oh, there you go. A 2-pack right there. But yeah, I didn't even necessarily love the transition. I had a lot of issues with that episode and it being kind of convoluted. What's really happening? Oh, she was actually asleep this whole time. I loved the Clone Wars flashbacks. I thought that looked incredible, but in terms of what she actually learned, again, everyone's going to say, well, you should have watched the other shows and then you'd understand. But I don't know if that's a fair criticism. And then, getting into the Purgil's mouth. So everything when she transitions, I don't necessarily love. So this iteration doesn't mean that much to me, but I think I'm going to hold out for the version without her crown or without her headband. That's really the version that everyone wants. So no, I'm joking. That was really upsetting to see her like that. It was not
the one when she wakes up. The one where they just gave us that look. She
was
alternate
naked.
Look for Ahsoka. Yeah. She wakes up like Grandma Ahsoka is what kind of
Please
she looks
do
like.
Not.
Yeah. We can see her you can see her ears kind of, or the holes for her, because her headpiece is on.
Yeah.
Very upsetting.
Yeah.
Seyful says, yeah, the first head sculpt is kind of bad. Mike Fig says, would not put it past them after what they did with Clone Wars Maul. Yeah. Same head sculpt, and that wasn't even close because that's the older Maul that they used from Solo, right?
That's This figure is different though. This is a big deal figure. Well, I think Clone Wars Maul is too, the character in and of itself, but I feel you can't do that with this figure.
X-Man Supreme's with Sneaker on this one. They're definitely doing a new Ahsoka sculpt. She has a different tiara.
Yeah. And also, I think it's warranted too. That's a good point. She has a different headpiece, and then also her Leku is going to look different potentially. So the head sculpt should look different.
They'll reveal the same head sculpt because we need to be put in our place. Yeah, I don't know. If they do give a new sculpt, Hot Toys has already produced 2 stoic looks. What would you want the look to be?
A really a
smile
small
with
smirk,
the teeth.
A really small smirk with the arms crossed.
It's like you've thought about
that'd
this
be
already.
great. Okay, now you're talking.
You gotta do give us something.
It's a good point.
Because
they should do
what were people complaining about? 90% of the time she's standing like this with a little smirk or no expression on her face. So it's kind of a joke, but do a little smirk or something like that. Give it, because also this is another point. Before she transitioned, what was everybody talking about with this character? She's really stoic. She doesn't have any emotion. And all of that was because she's really closed off. This transition, like, she changes as a character. She becomes more open to training Sabine. She's like enlightened, right? So make the head sculpt enlightened. Change it up from what you're doing and give her some type of like different look when it comes to the sculpt that shows that portrayal of her character. I think that'd be really cool if they could do something subtle to represent that. It warrants that, in my opinion. This is like my Star Wars nerd side coming out, but like that, as a creative artist that I am myself, you should do that. No, I'm not in any way artistic, but you know what I mean? Like when it comes to the character and the expression and what she means now, transitioning to, like, everyone says Ahsoka the White, like this is like good. This warrants like doing some type of different, a subtle smirk or a different facial expression that kind of helps smirk. Yeah, represents like the transition would be good.
Oh man,
Hot Toys should be listening to this.
No, they should. Just make sure you guys like the video, and if we get enough, then they will know about this. But yeah, X-Man says, I love how Merrick is repping the T-Mobile on his chest plate. I didn't even recognize that, but I didn't even know we were still talking about Merrick. I didn't even know he was in the picture anymore. We were just talking about Ahsoka. So let's see here. Yeah, so it'll be interesting. I think she'll be the next one, but yeah, they could go on with this line for quite a while yet. You know, you got Hu Yang, Enoch, possibly Morgan. I don't see her coming. I just don't think her character had enough weight. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see. But I'll definitely get Ahsoka. I'm not gonna get Merrick. Just an easy pass for me. Probably like one. I actually Sneaker, did you share this with us in our group chat this morning?
I think DLO did.
DLO did.
Yeah.
And I responded with, I guess it's better than nothing when it comes to like things being announced. Like, easy pass for me. Marco. Sorry, Marco. Is this a easy pass for you as well?
Yeah, Merrick, Ahsoka, I think both are going to be a pass. But I've already got a few of these figures from this line already on pre-order. So, you know, the further you get down this line, the trickier it gets. Do I want to add just one more? I like this shot with it on his back. The same with the Grand Inquisitor as well.
Yeah, that's badass.
What did you pre-order? Did you get everything so far?
Let's see. So I got Thrawn.
Okay.
Who else did I
Hera?
get? I'm gonna have to.
And Chopper?
I didn't get Hera.
Hera, Chopper, Sabine.
What? Yeah, so I got Thrawn and I got Sabine thus far. And
okay.
I probably would get a Stormtrooper or whatever they call it, the Night Trooper. What did he say?
I think I'm not pre-ordering, but I'm probably gonna get. Well, I know I'm gonna get Thrawn, and then I think I'm gonna get Hera. I don't know about Chopper yet, and I don't know about Sabine.
Wow, you don't know about Chopper? What's wrong with you?
Fight me! Fight me!
Sabine seemed like the coolest. I didn't like the character necessarily in the show, but she seemed like the coolest release with her Mandalorian armor and a lightsaber. Like, it's just a cool looking figure.
Graham, does this change your mind if Shin and Balin are announced? Like, do you consider Marrock as a figure you'd get?
No, it doesn't change my mind at all. No, because like for me, we've talked about how I have to have that connection with the character. And I have no connection with Marrock, and it's really just like it's almost like a trooper to me. Like, I just don't collect that stuff. I don't need it. It doesn't carry any weight for me personally. Anybody that wants this, I would not, second guess that for you. But for me, it's just like, it's got to be a special character. Like, even a Death Trooper is borderline. Do I need that because it's a trooper? Now the short trooper I need. That one is amazing. Okay. But, so I closed the poll on should Hot Toys have made Merrick. We had 26 votes. It was 50-50. 50% yes, 50% no. So it's like you said, very split on this character and this figure. So it's interesting to see. I don't think they needed this figure, but at the same time, why not? It doesn't take any work to really release them. So perfectly fine with that.
It's a smart release on their part.
You guys have any final thoughts on Marrock or Ahsoka?
You guys think Ahsoka is going to be the next one revealed?
I don't know. I mean, they could leave her for last, especially if they're doing the head sculpt. You know, if they're doing a revamped head sculpt, maybe they'll have. Do you think Hu Yang comes out by himself? Is he?
He'll be a single release.
pack?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Another thing is like, let's not forget there's a potential for this show to like them to come out with an Anakin. You know.
Yeah.
We talked about that in the
that's a good
past,
point.
but like that sculpted Anakin could be showing up. You know.
I'm joking.
That sculpted Anakin might show up. You know that's like we've talked about in past shows of like they got the rooted Anakin. Where's the sculpted? Why did they do the sculpted Joker, but not why'd they do a sculpted Wanda? Where's the sculpted Anakin? Perfect opportunity to release it for this show. You know, market it as an Ahsoka figure. Do the same head sculpt and yeah.
Good point.
Exciting.
Seems like they will do that. It seems like
It's a smart play, right?
Yeah.
Marco, do you have the? Is it the Clone Wars Anakin?
I do have that Anakin. That's my only Anakin until I get the artisan version in.
Did you?
And,
You were lucky enough to get that?
I was, yeah. I was one of the VIPs. So
Yes.
yeah, so
Nice.
I'm excited for that one, but it does worry me. I am very worried. Based on some of the pictures we've seen, it doesn't always look great. So if I'm going to have to get in there and futz it too much, I'm going to be annoyed.
Yeah, I think that was one of the things I was worried with the Wonder Woman as well. I just don't want to deal with it, but that's a cop out as well. So whatever, you know.
It's crazy in person. Yeah, the Wonder Woman in person is, it's you have to futz with it a little bit in the hair, like, but it's not by any means like anything extreme, you know. It's so well done. The hair is like, yeah, this rooting is way better than, you know, the old rooting style that you see on.
That's encouraging to hear.
Yeah,
'Cause
yeah. The
it's
art,
hard
yeah,
for
the
it
Wonder
to
Woman
even-
is, yeah, it's nice.
All right, we're going to go into some Overreaction Wednesday. And if you guys are new to the channel, this is where I give the panel a clue. They pick it, and then it's a statement, and then they have to pick if this is an overreaction or not, and why. Because we're kind of getting low on time, I think we'll just do one each. And let's see here. Because Marco is our special guest tonight, I'm going to let him pick first
right.
here.
Lucky
So
me.
here are the clues. And I know you've done this for Bargain Bin Brothers or one of your shows too, and that's where I've gotten it from. So here's the clues. What's in the box? Drink from the cup.
Oh my.
Third wheel. If he dies, he dies.
Oh boy. Okay. If he dies, he dies. I know which one this one is, and yeah, I definitely want to talk about this.
So if he dies is the one that you're picking?
Let's do it. Yep.
So the statement is, in art won't survive without the USA license. Is this an overreaction or not? And why do you think so?
Yeah, so this is absolutely an overreaction because think about how many US collectors are purchasing their figures. They've found a way to not have things licensed in our territory and still sell them to us via some backdoor back channel outlets, right? So obviously that's going to hold them back from becoming as big as they want to be and as big as Hot Toys. But I think that they can still continue to thrive in this niche that they're in right now, where it's just a few figures a year. They're doing them extra high quality, and they're not necessarily licensed for every region, but if you know how, you can get it pretty much anywhere you are in the world. So I'm going to say that's an overreaction because they will do just fine, even if it holds them back from, you know, really accelerating their company a whole lot.
Do you think that they need to really focus on speeding up, you know, their releasing of their figures? I mean, that's been pretty slow. Do you think that's holding them back as well?
No doubt about it, right? So they've had, what, two releases this year? They've had Pennywise and
Pennywise
Gandalf.
and this year,
Gandalf,
yeah.
And I think we're expecting the Batman here pretty soon. And I've got that Batman on pre-order, but let's say it drops in December. I'm probably not getting it to the middle of next year, right? So they definitely need to speed things up because, this batch process that they're doing is just not, it doesn't satisfy all the collectors out there. So they've got to do something.
So, Sneaker, the statement was Inart won't survive without the USA license. Marco thinks this is an overreaction. Do you agree?
Yeah, I would agree. This is an overreaction. There are plenty of companies that don't have US license. I mean, look at all the third parties. If third party companies are surviving without a US license, Inart is 100% going to survive without a US license. Would it be really nice for them to get one? Hey, Joey. Would it be nice for them to
Joey.
get one?
Hi.
It would be nice for them to get it. But they would definitely survive without it. Especially like I know John talked about in one of the streams recently too, that Inart is working on doing direct sales from their website. So like you'll be able to pre-order from Inart directly instead of going through
nice.
another either a reseller or like you don't have to go through like another avenue. They're going to have it where on their own website, they'll open up pre-orders and they'll ship to you direct from wherever they're at. So that would make a big difference. Ordering direct from them would be very nice. But I agree with what you guys are saying on like the wait times. I thought it was like Inart Gandalf released like a while ago now. And then like I saw 1/6 Kit, he posted, he was like, got in like a Gandalf batch. 10% of pre-orders have been released. Like 10% of orders now out. I'm like, that is not a high number. There needs to be a lot more getting shipped out. And like, I think I saw Pop Collectibles too. Like we got a small batch in, like be patient. We'll be getting more, but yeah, for them to go that slow is where it gets kind of tough, especially when they talk about like how many figures they have in the pipeline. They have so many things that they're talking about. It's like, when is this stuff, when is this stuff actually going to come out? But
well, and I think they kind of got us on the hook for Inart Joker when, they said it was March, and they said it'd come out Q4. And for the most part, they actually did release it Q4. People didn't get it for a long time, but I think they kind of led us to believe they're going to be kind of quicker than Hot Toys, and actually, they're the opposite. They're actually kind of slower than Hot Toys.
That was a selling point for sure.
Yeah, and not only, we kind of bitch and moan about if you pre-order from Sideshow when something's released and you got to wait 2 months until Sideshow gets it out, but like, they released Inart Joker in December, and people weren't getting theirs until August. So I mean, that's a long time to wait after it's already been released. But I don't know. Hopefully they figure that out.
Do you like? I guess like Marco, with you having the Batman, like this is a one I regret not pre-ordering, but also I'm not too concerned because like the way that I got Joker was like Kit had a cancellation and he had a batch cancel. Like so he had like 20. I think he had 24 units available that he put up when the Joker like arrived because people inevitably canceled. That was the way that I picked up Joker. So like potentially I'll try to do that for the Batman. But are you so I take it you're not getting the Hot Toys Pattinson, right?
I am getting the Hot Toys.
Oh, you are. Well. Oh, yeah, my man's all in.
Bike, so yeah. No,
yeah.
It's a
Okay.
Cool looking suit.
Okay.
Right? So one
okay. Yeah.
Bike, one standalone.
Oh, yeah. That's what I've been thinking about doing too. So my question was going to be, like, are you? I guess like let's take Hot Toys out of the equation for a second. If you're like, I'm going to get the Inart one. Are you like? And Graham, you can answer this too. Like, are you good with waiting the extra amount and like them taking the time to gather feedback? Because like recently, like within I forget last week or two, they put out another post saying like we're still making changes to the head sculpt. Like we really are working on we're making some more subtle modifications. Like that stuff takes a lot of time. Are you good with? Would you rather them like release it with the state it's in? Are you good with them doing like another set of incremental updates so they like really nail this figure? Like I'm curious what your thoughts are on that because it's taking a long time already. Are you okay with waiting a little bit longer for them to really get it right and like really nail this figure?
Yeah, Marco, I can totally take this one.
Oh yeah, go ahead, Graham.
I want my cake and I want to eat it too. So there you go. No, go ahead, Marco.
No, that's awesome. So no, I'm totally fine with waiting for them to get it right. So upon final release, if they've got it dialed in, if it's significantly better than what it could have been if they released it a few months before, then yeah, take your time. But I don't want you to then say, okay, the figure's released and then I get it in my hands 6 months later. Then yeah. That's a little bit too really long, good point. I think. So
yeah.
They've got
the time of release, when they release it, it needs to be quicker. Yeah, I think that's a good point.
Yeah.
Do you guys think
on their first figure, totally fine, but we're getting a bit further now into the releases. We got to see some improvement on that front.
Yeah.
Do you guys think that Hot Toys has delayed theirs because because this is kind of going to be like X-Man says, it's kind of like going to be a head-to-head comparisons on the figures. This might be like their first kind of head-to-head. Do you think like Hot Toys is delayed it because they really are trying to get it right, or do you think they really care about in art and they're just doing their thing?
Yeah, this is a tough question, honestly. Like I thought that, I really thought that, the competition was going to bring out the best in both companies. And we've seen them both kind of like incrementally update the figures like throughout the process, but I haven't seen like a wholesale change of like Hot Toys. Hey, we're going back to the drawing board. We realize it's not good enough. We're going to push back the date. It just seems like it's probably on the same trajectory that it was going to be regardless after they made those initial updates. So I don't know that Hot Toys is sweating the head-to-head comparison too much at this point, especially now that we know what in-art is, and that's just like a few figures a year at a very slow pace. I don't know that Hot Toys is too worried anymore, which is a bit disappointing to me because we were seeing those improvements in communication, in the technology they were employing. We saw them get pushed early on, and now maybe their foot off the gas pedal a little bit.
That's a good point. Sneaker, you got anything to add?
Yeah, I think like it's tough because I think they're paying attention, and I think they want their figure to be on par, like they want it to be a high level where people are still going to buy it. But at the same time, like from a competition perspective, with the amount of figures Hot Toys is way far and beyond as a company right now. Like they're not worried in the big picture. I don't think they're concerned about themselves as a company when it comes to competing with InArt, because they've only put out 3 figures,
right?
So like from that standpoint, no. But I think also I do think it's going to push them to release a quality product. And what they don't want, I think I will say what they don't want to have happen is this InArt figure come out around the same time and people compare them and everybody say the InArt figure is way better, this is much better, look at all this detail's a lot better. That's not what you want to have happen as a company, especially because you're the big dog, right? Like, so it's kind of feel like both sides. I don't think they're necessarily like, they don't have anything to worry about as a business, but at the same time, you don't want somebody new stepping in and just like making a figure that's way better than yours when you've been in the game for a really long time. So I think there's a little bit of play both ways there. I do think it has had an impact of like them updating the figure, because this is abnormal. I've been collecting a little over a year, so you guys could probably speak to this a little bit more, but it's abnormal that they're doing, like, it almost does seem like they're playing this back and forth game a little bit. Like they came out with this, like the updates for Hot Toys came out with like, oh, we're updating it. We're doing this interchangeable hair piece. They're making updates. Didn't they update the sculpt too a little bit?
Yeah, I think so.
Did they? Maybe.
Did they when they did the hair piece? I thought like they made a couple changes, but I think it is having an effect on they really want to get this figure right as best as they can. I think that is swaying that, but from a business perspective, I don't really think at this point they have a lot to worry about until InArt is pumping out 50 plus figures a year at the level of quality that people are coming to expect from InArt as a company. That's going to be really challenging for them to do that.
Yeah, we'll see upon final release, but they were definitely pushed in the beginning, but then we haven't seen those updates as of late, so I just don't know if
just
that's
waiting in the shadows. To like,
yeah,
no pun
maybe
intended.
I am the shadows.
Maybe they're fine tuning and they really want to get this one right.
Yeah.
But I have my doubts because it's Hot Toys. But I think both releases are going to be great. But I think that InArt one is going to end up being just a little bit, more, a little bit superior.
Yeah,
sure.
And you're paying more. I think another thing is you're paying more. Like if you're getting the rooted one, like you're going to be paying more. It's rooted. Like it's just that makes it different the way they're doing it too. So there's like some nuances there. The accessories are different. Like there's some things to consider there as well when it comes to pricing and what you're getting with each figure too.
It's true.
Getting both. I mean,
well said.
I need to get this InArt. I need to get the InArt one.
So you're getting a rooted version as well. So rooted.
That's what I want to do. So like I want to do, like, I love that movie. It's like it's
a good movie.
It's one of my, like, it's up there for potentially my favorite Batman movie, honestly. Yeah. So like, yeah, I want to do like Bat Cycle and then the Hot Toys one with the cowl, and then do InArt rooted with the cowl off.
Nice.
Yeah, that's my plan, but I didn't pre-order. I missed out.
Are we
So
all
we'll
getting
see.
the Bat Cycle?
So
Yeah.
yeah,
All right.
That bike
I
is
like
cool,
it.
man.
Yeah,
Yeah, that
that's
bike
cool.
is cool.
That's a badass
Yeah.
bike.
Yeah.
Can't
All right,
wait.
let's move on. One more overreaction here. So Sneaker, you get to pick. So you have what's in the box, drink from the cup, or third wheel.
Let's go,
Can I
let's go.
can I steer you towards
Let's go.
one?
What's in the
Can I-
box?
Yes, that's the one I wanted you to pick. All right, so we're gonna do what's in the box, and that is, and this is good that you picked this because you have a story here that just happened too.
Oh, relevant.
It is a must to keep art boxes / shippers.
This is a huge overreaction in my opinion. Yeah, like, wait, hold on, right? Wait, so hold on. It's a must to keep them. Yeah, it's an overreaction. Like you shouldn't it's not a must that you keep them.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not a must, but it kind of is a must.
Okay. I'll say so. Let me say this. Can we like divide it up because art boxes and shippers are different? Like art boxes, yes. Sorry, I missed this part of the question. I'm so focused on what happened with this shipper that just, with this shipper.
Threw 'em off.
So this is it's an overreaction for shippers. It's not an overreaction for art boxes. Can I say that? Is that allowed?
Okay, hold on.
Are you editing it? It is a must.
It is a must to keep art boxes.
I would say not an overreaction. Like for me personally as a collector, I need to keep the boxes. The only thing is, like,
but honestly, even the shippers, like, tell them your quick story here.
Yeah. So, art boxes, I will always keep. Shippers, I couldn't care less because a lot of we just get shippers because that's how they're shipped over to the U.S. and like they're putting shipper
but if you already
boxes.
have the art box, why not just keep the shipper?
So I keep the shipper, but it just definitely does not matter. If I'm buying a figure, it's not like, I'm not buying this. If it doesn't have the shipper, no way, I'm not buying it. So, Marco, so I saw this post, like, was this yesterday? I think it was yesterday.
I think so. Yeah.
Somebody posted like they wanted a Wonder Woman, like a Warner Brothers 100 Wonder Woman shipper, and just the shipper box. So I messaged him.
This guy,
and
he's like so lucky.
He paid me $80 for the shipper only. So I was like, and he was like, he said he wanted it shipped. If you're in the chat, I love you. Thank you.
To each their own.
He basically said like, and like for people who don't know this, like Graham had Wonder Woman like on pre-order, didn't want to get it at the time, so I took it over for him. I ended up taking it over, and then luckily, I'm glad I said, hey, can you get it double boxed, please? I said, can you double box it? Remember, I was like, if they give you the option to double box, please double box. So they did double box it, and this guy's like, it needs to be double box mint shipper, and I was like, well, I have that, no label on the shipper. Paid me $80 for this shipper.
Goodness.
And I'm like, this shipper's gone because this thing is. What did I do? I went upstairs, went in the guest room, into my closet, got the box out, and pulled. I'm like, this is the easiest $80 I've ever made in my life. So, and then I was like, you know what? I have the box that Sideshow double boxed it in, so I just like loaded it with packing paper, put it in the box. It was still a 3-pound box. That's how big this box is. It was like almost $20 to ship this like empty shipper box in a packed box. But yeah, so it was like close. It was almost $100. It was almost $100 shipped. But hey, some collectors want the shipper. But it was a very very good day for me to make some money. So shippers, I couldn't care less about. Art boxes, I do care about. I don't have any. Now that I think of it, I don't have any loose figures. I don't have any figures that are loose. I have the box for all my figures. But also, would that stop me from buying something? It would depend. I think it would depend, but you can always get a box from somebody. They're not a rarity by any means. Depending on what the figure is.
I'm still looking for a City Hunter Predator 2 box.
So like it's like an older.
Ooh, that's a deep cut though.
Yeah. But I mean, I bought that loose because I got it for a deal, and that's why I think you should keep the art boxes because even if you don't think you're going to sell, you just never know what life is going to throw at you. And why not just keep the box if it's like 40% of your value of the figure? Like people want, the full, the complete set type of thing. So I understand why people don't want to keep them, but I think you need to, just because if you ever have to sell or get out, imagine like the value of these figures, like from Marvel, for example. If you don't have a box, how much are you selling some of these figures for? Maybe getting $100.
You're paying someone to take them.
Right. So like, I personally, and again, you collect how you want. That's perfectly fine. I don't really care. But like for me, I've sold a lot of figures. Like Steve, we just talked about this last night.
Yeah.
I need to keep the box because I need to get as much of my money recouped back as I can. So, but I want to pass this over to Marco and get his thoughts on if this is an overreaction or not, and kind of what he does. Because I know you don't like to sell, Marco. So maybe it's not as important to you. But yeah, what are your thoughts on this?
So can you change the question back? Actually, I want to answer the shipper box question and not the art box. Because art box, yes, always keep the art box. Way too much value attached to those. Sneaker, I'm with you though. Where if I'm buying a figure, I don't necessarily, or I guess Graham as well, I don't necessarily need it to be complete, but because I'm most worried about the figure. But when it comes to my own collection, I definitely want to keep that art box because collectors, we're just too picky. So on to the shipper box question. I wish we lived in a world where shippers didn't matter. I would love to just trash all of my shippers, but they do. There's value attached to them, as insane as that seems. So as freeing as it may be to one day just be like, okay, everything in my collection I'm going to keep for forever and pass down to my children, who will definitely sell it at a garage sale for $50, take it all. I can't part with them because I know that there's value there. So I think if you can afford to do it now, if you're if you got a storage unit offsite and you're paying every month to keep these shipper boxes, then you're losing value already, and it's probably not worth it. But
that's excessive.
Paying money to store them is
But that's the reality of some places in the world, right? Just storage is tight. But for those of us that maybe have storage on site and we can keep these around, and our wife is not ready to toss them out, I know mine's getting close. Then hold on to it for as long as you can. And I know there will be a day where I'm going to have to sell a few figures. Hopefully the market will have healed a little bit by then. And hopefully, I just hate selling because I'm particular, and I know collectors are particular, and it's just one little, there's a nick here, or there's a dent in the art box, and so those things could become a nightmare. But give yourself the best chance to get the most value out of what you paid for.
No, I agree with all that too, and I hate the fact that I have to store the boxes because it takes up a whole closet of just empty boxes. So I'm again, I understand why people get rid of them and whatnot. But I just think to protect yourself, if you can find a way to store them, even if and not everybody has this, but like my parents, if I had to, I'm sure I could store shit at my parents' house, but not everybody has that luxury. I am running out of room though in my little closet under the steps. So I am debating, do I either toss the DeLorean and tumbler boxes, or do I just, there's really no pieces in them. Do I shove them somewhere in the attic of the garage, or somewhere where I don't care if the weather really gets to them. So I'm kind of starting to think about some of that stuff. Do I need the box for a vehicle? It's already going to be a bitch to sell or get rid of if I ever made that choice. So I totally understand that. But
can you do a win-win? Tell your wife, I'm going to store the gals, summer clothes over here in the tumbler box.
There you go. Yeah, that would be kind of funny. And to be honest, we do have storage clothes too for them. So, and for different ages. So yeah, that's actually a really good idea. That might be something I do. But I don't know. To me though, I'll never drop the value of a figure if it doesn't have a shipper. If I'm selling something,
I don't think a shipper is worth anything.
I'm not dropping the value. Some people say you should. I don't agree with that because it's still an art box. It's still a complete set. A shipper it's a shipping box, And it's I'm going to ship it into a different box, so don't worry. But
and if you're selling to someone who's so obsessed with the shipper box, it might be a bad sign that they might be obsessive over other things too. And like I said, I'm very particular, so I don't want to put too much judgment. But I think you're right. You could sell something without it and be perfectly fine.
I think the one exception to that is if something is actually still sealed in the shipper and you're buying it, that provides a little bit more peace of mind than if it doesn't have a shipper and somebody says this is brand new, it's never been removed from the package. They could have opened it, they could have messed with it. But if it's sealed in the shipper and there's no evidence that it's been, tampered with or the tape has been replaced, then like that would be my only time where it's like, okay, the shipper literally hasn't been opened, so nobody's touched this figure since it was packaged. Like that's a nice but that's again, like there's ways around that too, but that's kind of I feel like the exception. One other thing I wanted to add too about the boxes real quick. There's no way I'm taking out all the hands, all the extra accessories and putting them into something else. I don't use like 95% of my stands. They're all in the box, nicely put in these boxes. If I want to go get something for a figure, which I've already done a few times, I go up to the closet the way I have them stacked in there. Like you can see the numbers and for the most part, what the figures are. So like I can go right to the box and get whatever I need. I wouldn't want to ever take all this stuff out of the boxes, put it into tackle boxes. I know some people do that, but like doing that and then keeping your boxes on top of that would just be too much. Like they're a great storage solution for all the extra accessories that you don't use. This makes it, keeps it organized, really easy.
Well, and half the time I'll forget. This happened with my Predator figure. I took everything out and for the life of me, I could not figure out how to get everything back in. If you have those electric effects, those like lightning effects, like, getting those back in, I'm just like, which way does this go? I'm like, damn it. Like, this is so hard to get back in here.
Insane is Mysterio. He's got those swirl effects, and I can never figure out how they go back in. I'm like, I could watch a video, but I'm just
Justin, help me with this.
Yeah, exactly.
So, let's see here. Ben says the shipper helps protect the art box, and I don't know if he's being sarcastic or not, but it's true. And that's why I do like to keep my shippers, because they all get piled in, but they're all protected yet. And that's what the shipper is meant to do. And I ship my figures in the shipper box. I'm not going to double box because that's what it's meant for. That's what it was made for. So,
I double box it still.
You're a weird guy and you're very particular, and that's fine. But and you got your answer, Doc Bat. He does double box all of his orders. So I do not.
I also receive my stuff double box. It's really nice to get a box, like to get a package like that's in a shipper inside of another box. Like when you see that outer box damaged, then you're like, oh, thank God it's like in like the shipper's protecting the art box too. You know what I mean? So that's nice. I feel like, you know what I mean? Like not that I care too much, but like sometimes like I've gotten a couple shippers that have been like, I got boxes that are pretty badly dented, especially if you order from Sideshow. California to Wisconsin is a long route. Like you're going to get some dings in a shipper. I feel like that happens. So
I don't double box only because I'm trying to get my figure for as cheap as possible, and I know one day it's going to bite me in the where, but for now it's like, okay, it's worked for me so far. I've gotten spoiled that nothing has been damaged too badly.
Ben says destroying the boxes purposely erodes the value of your collection, even if you'd absolutely never sell. And some people are okay with that, but me personally, I'm just not. I just want to protect my investment as much as I can. So Mike says, what I hate is when people try to sell a figure as new, only opened for inspection, and you can see in the pictures that all the plastic protection sleeves are missing. Dirty scammers. Yeah, you got to be careful online. Definitely a lot of scammers out there, but Mike knows what to look for, so that's a good thing. And as long as you guys know what to look for, then hopefully you will limit your likeliness of being scammed. So X-Man says he has his boxes stacked up right now inside the shippers. I can go and grab any box out of the pile like a drawer, and it's great. Yeah, same thing for me too. The only problem I have is I try to it's almost like Tetris under the steps, and sometimes I have to dig some out to get that box out. I try to put the ones furthest away that I rarely use, so like things like a shore trooper or something. Like I'm never really going to take the gun out of his hand or do anything, so like those kind of go to the back, and then the ones that I kind of change up a little bit more I have towards the front. Yeah, I wasn't being sarcastic. They actually he does protect the art boxes. Same thing for Doc Bat. That Sneaker said avoid dents, tears, stuff like that. So yeah, any other thoughts on art boxes before we move on here? That was a good one. I like that one.
That was a good one.
I've had that one for like 3 weeks, so I really wanted somebody to finally go through that one. So
If anybody wants to buy any more shippers, let me know. I will sell a shipper box any day of the week. Like it's your a cardboard box is just, it's wild what people do out there. But hey, you want the guys that I just like, I mentioned a comment to Mike too, because he had mentioned like, well, maybe the guy's like trying to sell a knockoff. But like he told me he bought it from Toys Buying Agent, which overseas they don't obviously have the shippers. And he said, you know, he just told me like he tries to get all the shippers for figures that he gets overseas because he likes to have them for the art boxes.
I get it.
Yep.
I wouldn't buy one, but I get it.
I wouldn't buy it for $80, but to each their own. You know what I mean? He's like, has the money and that's what he wants to spend it on. It's up to him.
Yeah, I think I have a handful of boxes that aren't that don't have shippers, and definitely not looking to buy shippers. But
it's funny how our collector brains work, though. I think like $80 for a shipper box to protect an expensive figure, fine. But if you were at a restaurant and dropping $80, like, oh, that's a pretty substantial meal, actually. So it's funny we just separate these things almost completely.
Yeah, I'm not going to a restaurant dropping $80 anytime soon.
Can't. I collect hot toys.
Yep.
That's right.
Well, Sneaker even said, because he picked up that Infinity War Thor for, you said 160?
Yeah, 150 shipped Infinity
And he's
War
like,
Thor.
that $80 pays for half of that figure. So
yeah, over half of that Thor is a shipper box. That's why I'm collecting Marvel right now, right there. That's a huge, that's like a huge win, you know.
Well done, sir. Well done.
Thank you.
So yeah, we are, 2 hours and 15 minutes here. I think we're gonna call it a night. But man, this time went really, really quickly. I had a lot of fun talking with you guys, especially you guys in the chat too. So yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed this too. Marco, thank you so much for being a guest on the show once again. I have your link as well as EvilSneaker, Brick Artemis, DLO The Collector in the description below. Go and subscribe to these guys on YouTube, on Instagram if you haven't already. They're great guys. I wouldn't be doing the show with them if they weren't. So, Marco, I know you said it's been a little bit light on your channel, but what's going on in your world, on your channel, or if not much, what's going on in what are you looking for, figure wise coming up here? What's going on with the hobby?
Well, first of all, Graham, thanks for having me. Really good time, and it had been way too long. So anytime you need another DLO replacement, you just let me know. I'm happy to slide in here. So. But on our channel, Gigi and I just did our Halloween episode. So I was the Winter Soldier. She was Captain America. We talked about figures like we do. So yeah, go check that out. If you're not familiar with us, 16fix is the channel. I am also on Collecting Weekly just about every Tuesday. So go check those guys out, Zach and Dean. Ben Thomas is on there as well, so we have a really good time. And then on LWO on Fridays, which we kind of rotate different channels. This week it'll be on Big Bretta's channel, so friend of the show. And yeah, it should be a good time. I won't be on there, but go check it out. It'll be Friday night. Should be about 7 o'clock Eastern time, 7 p.m. Eastern time. So
cool.
Check all that out, and check out 16fix. And last thing I want to plug, we are doing a 2,000 subscriber giveaway. Thanks to a sponsor that we've got. So go check out those details over on our channel.
Awesome. Nice. Congrats. That's a big deal.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Well deserved too.
Thank you.
Sneaker, how about you? What you got coming up on your channel?
I don't know.
More reviews?
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see about reviews. So I did the Warner Brothers 100 Wonder Woman review as my maybe potentially only review. No, I'm just kidding. So like I kind of talked about, I think last week, it takes a lot of time that I don't have to do video all these really long reviews. So then I did a live unboxing for the upgraded suit for Miles from Spider-Man 2. So you can go check that out. I'm probably going to just do live unboxings for stuff that I get in. It just was more fun for me to do that. I can just go live, take it out of the box, really easy rather than spending hours trying to film something. Unless it's Artisan Anakin, I'll do a review on that. So higher level figures, I'll do. Yeah, higher level figures, I'll do probably a long form review because I'll want to do that. But yeah, and then next week I'm doing a collector tour episode. I forget what day it is. It's midweek. I think it might be Tuesday.
Better not be Wednesday.
It's not Wednesday. I think it's Tuesday. I forget. I have to confirm. But Action in the Box is coming on for the collector tour. And so we're gonna do the episode. Actually, a little sneak peek for you guys. we're actually going to do the episode a little bit different. The first part is going to be like, I'm going to be asking him the questions and we're going to be going through that. And then he's actually going to give us like a behind the scenes look at his dioramas and stuff like that. Like take us through some of his collection. And that was something that he requested to do. And I'm all for it because his like dioramas are so cool.
Yeah, they're awesome.
The way he does it and creates it, just like, I'm sure the amount of time that goes into it is crazy, but his dioramas are very cool. So looking forward to that episode. And yeah, that's pretty much it right now. I might do a live stream potentially just randomly out of nowhere to talk about like just my upcoming pre-orders and stuff. I feel like that'd be something that might be that might be fun.
I'd join you for that.
Oh yeah.
If I'd be welcome on your channel.
Yeah, if you're able. Yeah, I want to like potentially
yourself, huh?
Yeah, myself. Because I want to just like I haven't like I did a like when I first started out, I think the second video that I did was like talking about my upcoming pre-orders, and it's evolved since then and changed. So kind of just want to do a live stream talking about pre-orders, figures that I'm excited for, maybe ones that I'm on the fence about pre-ordering, and just kind of talk about, you know, figures in general with that. So we'll see. I'm still trying to map that out, but yeah, that's pretty much the main thing that's been going on.
Yeah, and on my channel, last week I did the Hulk review, like a flashback review. That was a lot of fun actually, because I didn't have a base or a lot of accessories to work with. I just could focus on the figure. So like you said, it takes a long time to do those reviews, but for that it went pretty quick, and it was a lot of fun. This week I'm looking at I think doing either my top 5 least favorite figures in my collection, or the top 5 Grails that I'm looking for, and kind of doing a recap from my last video and what Grails I've picked up since, and what I'm looking to get into the collection in the future. So those videos will be coming out soon. So stay tuned for that. Thank you guys so much for watching, being active in the chat. You guys were awesome. Thank you for the new channel members. Appreciate you guys taking the plunge. It's a great time to be a collector, and really enjoy just walking on this journey with you guys. So it's a lot of fun. Thank you guys for watching. Till next time, stay safe out there, and we'll see you soon. Good night. Too sweet. Do it, Marco. Too sweet. Boom.